A-Side Studios in the heart of SUNY Purchase College. This is the A-Side Podcast, presented by the A-Side Network. Now, your hosts, Jared, Paul, and Reddmond.
And welcome back to the A-Side Podcast, our triumphant return.
We're back.
The three of us.
Mm-hmm. New desk.
New desk,
new room, new everything.
That's right.
Yeah.
Paul Hoti.
Me.
Host number one.
Host number, and Reddmond, host number two.
I guess I'm the third host. I'm Jared.
Hopefully the listener knows all that.
Hopefully. If you're just joining us.
That's right. If you're just joining us.
Welcome
You're
to
a
the
new
A-Side
listener,
Podcast.
but we're still going to call you listener.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's get something straight here. Is this because Paul and I have had this conversation? I want to get your opinion on this.
Sure.
What we did last year.
Mm-hmm.
Now I call it the first phase. Paul calls it a season.
I switched to phase. I don't care.
Really?
Damn, you I was gonna say season is a little bit like, I feel like we're a little too full of ourselves if you say season. You know what I mean? It's just like, our first season was like, it was okay. But like the second season's way better. Like, you know what I mean? Like, phase is real.
Phase sounds like more of a podcast.
And I'm guessing we're starting with 12, right? We go, this is number 12, right?
Just continue.
Yeah. Or do you want to do
continue.
phase? Okay.
No, I think what we could do
is phase 2, episode 14.
Yeah, I mean we could put
or
that in a
12
separate playlist. Each
13
phase
rather.
could go in a separate playlist.
Ooh.
Stuff.
But that's behind the scenes stuff.
I have my camera.
Yeah, we haven't
here.
We'll decide on that after.
We will decide on that afterwards. So,
but look at us. We have finally moved out of our old dormitory and have made our way to this new place.
Well,
at least 2 out of 3.
We're in a new mental place, if you think.
Right. So it's a little different, but all the same to some degree.
I got used to it quickly. I feel like I've been here forever now. So.
Really?
Yeah, I was feeling that earlier as well.
Yeah. How about you, Jared?
I don't know. I moved in and I'm really just trying to enjoy the time I'm having. So if I'm not really paying attention to how long I've been here already. I'm just trying to enjoy it.
You're not thinking, well, here's the first weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
5.
All right.
I'm not like analyzing every second, but I'm really just I am having a good time so far.
Mr. Big Man on campus. We'll talk about that quickly.
Why am I a big man?
You have a lot of friends.
Huh?
And this is bothering us.
Bothering you, dog.
That's interesting. You like that aspect of yourself?
That I have a lot of friends.
Yeah, that you.
This is weird.
No, I like this.
Go.
Huh? Do I like the aspect that I have a lot of friends?
Right, like that you have that part of your personality.
Yeah, I mean, I do actually, because it's just nice to see people. I like engaging with people most days.
Like, oh, that's that one. Hi, how are you doing?
It's just nice. It's just nice. It's just every time I see somebody, just say what's up. We're all I don't really know what I'm trying to say, but I feel like let me try to summarize it. I feel like it's just the more people and if you just sometimes it's not always great because some people always say, oh, if you have a lot of friends, you know who your real friends are. It's not like that for me. I feel like. No. You know what I mean? If you're just trying to be just a very genuinely nice person, and you're trying to respect everybody and talk to, and you the more people that you interact with, the more people gather or whatever with you. It's bound to happen, I guess. You know what I mean? I'm not. This sounds like I'm bragging. What the fuck?
No,
you know what I mean?
No.
No, but I don't really think about it. If I'm being honest, it just happens, and if people, there are people that don't like me. I don't really know.
No way. And if there are people who don't like you, you send them up here and we'll talk to them.
You don't need to. It's I don't know. It's definitely it's impossible to be everybody. You know what I mean? There's literally, it's just not possible. There's too many people in the world. So,
how many people are? What's the population?
7.2 billion.
That's great. 7.2.
You know what I thought of the other day? Every time I'm in the city, I'm sorry, I didn't.
I know that.
No, but every time I'm in the city, I pass somebody and just think about everything that's happened to you ever in your life.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Multiply that by 7.2 billion. Do you have any experiences? Huh? Yeah, Google it.
Is there a word for this?
Yeah.
What is it?
Sonder.
Okay, let me hear it.
The realization that each random, well, it's something like this, that each random passerby is living a life as vivid, as complex as their own, populated with their own ambitions, friends, routines, worries, and inherent crazy. It's one of the best feelings you're ever gonna feel. Once you have that realization, it's
It's insane.
Yeah. Why?
I don't know.
It's part of this pretentious sort of, not pretentious. I don't want to. it's sort of cool, sort of pretentious project called the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows.
The Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows.
I just love how you have an answer for everything, and I missed it so much.
You found this.
Yeah. Oh, there's an artist named Sonder.
There is.
Yeah.
It's a cool word.
Yeah,
I found it because I was looking up. I knew this. I saw this on I think Tumblr or something. I found it on like Facebook. I saw it as like an image. I saw it as part of this project, and the point of the project is to kind of give definitions to feelings that are too complex to put into words. So it's a YouTube channel. It's really cool. I haven't watched it in forever.
What YouTube channel? What's it called?
But it's the same Dictionary of Obscure. I don't know if you want to play the video, but I just made me think of it.
Okay.
Like flash over. The moment a conversation becomes real and alive, which occurs when a spark of trust shorts out this delicate circuits you keep insulated upon layers of irony, momentarily grounding the static emotional charge you built up through decades of friction with the world.
This does sound like a pretentious.
Oh, it is. I love it though. It's
absolutely. It is really.
Do you know what I'm talking? Do you know what this reminds me of though?
What?
There are words in other languages that describe something that we like. So, for example, like this is just an example. Like, when you step in water for a little bit too long and the water like seeps in through your shoes and wets your socks. Apparently, like for example, like there can be a word for that in like German. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think of it. This is terrible. I can't think of an example.
I get it.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So this kind of reminds me of that.
It's that lost in translation. There's definitely a real thing about it, you know, like certain things and ideas that are just you don't get if you're not speaking that language.
Oh yeah.
That's why it's weird when you're watching a foreign film and it's like you wonder how much you're really getting.
Oh yeah,
you know.
That's true.
I feel that.
That's a good point.
I actually watched this movie. I mentioned it with you actually. Stalker. It's by this Russian director Andrei Tarkovsky. Tarkovsky, and it's Russian, and yeah, I had the subtitles on. I was just kind of wondering as I was watching, like, how much of this am I really getting? Like in terms of the words. I mean, visually, it's really cool. That's kind of the selling point. It wasn't amazing to me, but it's a good movie, I guess. Anyway, that's just review.
I think in Russian, I think you can have a sentence, and I feel like I think it's you got to fact check this by the way, but like you can jumble up the words, and as long as the words aren't like you can jumble up the words in a sentence, and as long as they're like the same words in the same like sentence, they'll understand what you're saying.
Sentence structure?
Yeah, sentence structure like Russian. I'm not sure if this is true. But that's what I heard about Russian.
Well, the word, yeah, okay, you're right, sort of, I think, according to this 30-second Google search, and the first one that comes up, in the Russian language, the word order is rather flexible for the Russian sentence. Those of Russian sentences generally arranged, subject, verb, object. The grammar rules allow to use virtually any combination of subject, verb, and object within the sentence. So, yeah, it's all right. We got it.
Bam, bam, bam.
Yay.
There's always those like random. Yeah, it is strange. That's like, you are how. Like, how are you? I guess you are. You are how. I don't.
Well, it's also why I guess
it's like Yoda speak.
Yeah.
It's also why some a lot of people from that part of the world say what's the thing they do where they get rid of like you do this instead of you will do that. You know what I mean?
In English,
contraction.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not a linguist.
Wait, no, isn't the contraction when you add like
that's when you take if you want to say cannot, if you want to
cannot.
Yeah.
Contraction.
Again,
who knows?
Who knows? But no, that feeling of Sonder. That's why I miss the fucking city so much. You get that pretty much if you just think hard enough.
It's crazy, and then when you meet somebody, you're just like, wow, it's insane.
Well, here's what I think. I remember I was driving with my mom once, and we were on like the highway. I looked out the window, like the definition says. I was looking out the window, blah, blah. And I thought, how many of these people that have passed by have killed How many people that I've passed have killed someone or have just done something really terrible?
It's a really good one. I haven't even thought of
Is
that.
there a word for that? That's bad Sonder. Unsondered.
I think
Dark Sonder.
I saw something on Twitter where it's like one of those fact pages, and it says, like each person apparently walks past like 2 to 3, or was it either 4 or 14 murderers in their life. Isn't that wild? And you'll never know.
You'll never know. I'm not just gonna go up to someone and say, "Oh,
have you killed someone?"
One in general. This is a good website called Kiora. I don't know how to say fucking this, but it's a cool website. I get a bunch of emails, so that's a good time waster.
I feel like you're just waiting to die. You know what I mean?
I could be.
No, I hope you don't.
But I appreciate that. By far, there are less than 0.06 people in the USA who have ever murdered a fellow person. Like, hello. Hello.
hello, fellow."
Yeah, by far, about 8% of murders have killed over 2/3 of those known murdered. But what? I guess that means 8% of these people were caught. I don't know. Oh, in other words, most murders have only been known to have killed one person.
This would be good for my stats class.
Yeah, Joe. Yeah, dark, scare the shit out of your fucking class.
Someone in here is a killer.
Did you see that trailer for it has Daisy Ridley in it? And
that's a great murder.
And the murder in the have you seen the trailer? You know what I'm talking about? It's like somebody dies in a train, and it's like space.
Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah.
It's a remake of
a book, right? Or is it a play? I don't know.
It was a book first, and then actually your buddy Sidney Lumet directed the original.
My buddy?
Your bro.
It came out already?
No, it's a remake sort of.
Why is Sidney?
No, it's this. Oh wait, no, never mind.
That's not it.
When is it coming out?
He did. This is coming out November 10th.
Oh, I can't wait. I want to watch that.
The Lumiere Bros.
Yeah.
Sidney, how do you say his name? Sidney. He did Dog Day Afternoon.
He's a real.
And Network, of course. Huh?
OG?
Yeah, he's the director who did, like, one of his favorite movies, Dog Day Afternoon. He did Network. He did 12 Angry Men, which might be I watched that movie this summer. It might be my favorite to watch the whole summer. Like, 5 stars, like, incredible. Yeah. It's fucking awesome. Yeah, it looks good.
It's a cool poster.
It is. Really
and
cool
the trailer's cool because it's like...
I like the end. I like the very, very end where he's like, I am whatever, and I'm probably the best detective in the world.
Yeah.
I really, I thought that was...
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm not the biggest Imagine Dragons fan, but when the song kicks in the trailer, it's pretty good.
What song?
Radioactive. No, not that.
That doesn't sound like that would fit.
I forget what it's called, but I'd rather not play it for copyright reasons. God, I have to look this shit up. Okay.
You're like fed up with it. You're like, God damn it.
I have to know everything. It's just I've been thinking about it too.
You have to know everything.
I think I'm addicted to information. And I think the information
is that a thing?
Believer.
I think so. Yeah, believer. Yeah.
I'm addicted to information.
No, I'm trying lately to try and like shut that off. Like because Facebook's if you think of it, it's an infinite amount of information. Because it just goes on. Google too, but Facebook, I think, because it's all there. Because think of it, it just keeps going on newsfeed, and
that's true.
You'll never run out of stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's I don't know.
That's Twitter.
Yeah, same with Twitter, dude.
And it's overwhelming to the point where I'm like, I literally sometimes I have to fucking read a book or something for class, and I'm like, I have to shut this off.
YouTube too, dude. YouTube is bad for me. Like click holes.
Yeah, it's deeper. So, but that's just that.
And then before you know it, you're on the dark side of YouTube and just watching weird.
As we did in
the final
11.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna shut all that out to refresh.
Batman.
I have a Batman, Superman. My dad installed this, but I'm nonetheless proud of it. This cover photo.
Who saw it?
Who saw it?
What'd your dad say?
He installed this.
Oh, installed it. Oh.
So I didn't put up a fight. I did that crappy movie that Zack Snyder trained. Anyway. So this, I guess, switch the conversation. We actually have not talked about what we did over the summer. We've hinted at it.
I was just about to. Yeah.
I think we wanted to keep it
Mm-hmm.
for a reaction on this for right now.
So who wants to start? Because I want to finish last. So it's up to you.
Okay.
I'm just gonna take.
I hope I don't go on for a while.
I mean, we have a while. So.
That's true. That is true. But summer. Feel free to ask questions, by the way. But yeah, I had a great summer. I feel like I've answered this so many times because everybody's like, "Hey, it's summer," but
it's summer.
just like that.
yes, yeah, exactly.
Like that.
Yeah,
I'll try
actually, sort of.
Okay.
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
I wasn't like sour or anything.
Okay.
No, but yeah, first half of summer, believe it or not, I really didn't do much. I worked, I hung out with friends, really, and I stayed in. And then literally the half of the summer, like the second half of the summer, I was always busy. Well, partly is because I spent 1 month over in France.
Oui.
Yes. C'était magnifique. J'ai passé un bon moment
There
là-bas.
we go. Shut my ass up.
That's you for interrupting.
Touche.
But he's trying to speak more French. Like, did you not know?
No.
No, but I had a great time. I saw some family I haven't seen in years, and I lucked out because normally I was looking for flights, and they're like $800, $900 round trip. Found one for XL Airways. Shout out to XL Airways.
Sponsor.
Shout out, sponsor us. No, I found one ticket for round trip for $515.
Really?
Yes, it was very nice. I mean the seats weren't super comfortable, but like it's literally like I'm going to France, so why would you even like care?
How long is the flight?
The flight going there was 6 hours and 40 minutes or something like that.
No.
No, direct flight. And got out on Charles de Gaulle. Saw my aunt, saw my uncle. I did a bunch of stuff in Paris. I walked. I walked for 2 hours alone once. Walked just back to. I felt like you, Paul. I'm not saying this. No, because you just like walk. You just like. I felt like I was taking pictures of like everything.
Yeah.
I was like walking. I was gonna walk with music, but I wanted to like really absorb like everything going on.
What music would you have played if you had to?
Oh, if I had to, I think I would have just listened to what I normally listen to. Nothing
Which
crazy.
is what?
No, just you
gotta define that, bro. What is it?
Normally just literally. I mean, whatever comes on my Spotify. So like, it could go anywhere from like like Childish Gambino or what. Like recently, I've been listening to like a lot of Brockhampton.
I noticed that. I see you.
Brockhampton?
Yeah.
How'd you know that?
Spot
Because
you look at
he's
Spotify.
just watching.
Yeah, I've been listening to Brockhampton a lot.
Why? What about his music communicates to you?
Huh?
What about his music?
It's not one dude. It's like several people.
With their music. Sorry.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying that. No, there's. It's just there's rappers. There's producers, directors, writers, all living in one house. Musicians all living in one house in like South Central or something, and they all make up. They made 2 albums this summer.
Shit.
2 albums this summer, and it's very, very different. There's Kevin Abstract. I think he's either bisexual or gay,
Right.
and he raps about it in his songs. And like I've been watching reactions on YouTube, and people always like every time he says a line like talking about his sexuality, people just like rewind, and they're like, "Wait, what?" And it's interesting because if you think about it, like you hear about all these rappers talking about how many girls they fuck or whatever. And it says like you don't really think twice, but when some dude is like, yeah, no, I kissed this guy and he told me this, and they're just like, wait, what? But it's a lot more accepting than it was like 10 years ago. But I thought that was really interesting. There's another rapper named Amir Vaughn. He was like heavily involved with like drugs, but now he's no longer. But he raps about that a lot. Don McLennan, all these guys, singers too. I just really think there's a really interesting dynamic, and they're kind of doing something different with hip hop. And I'm just kind of feel like these guys are like slowly growing. And Tyler the Creator's album, I think I would have played that.
I've been hearing about that.
Flower Boy.
Flower Boy is literally, I think, it's definitely my favorite album of the summer. And I think it may be my favorite album of the year. But Damn is still a thing, so I don't know.
Damn exists.
Damn exists. If Damn didn't come out this year, I would have easily given it to Tyler. But I guess that's answers your question of what I think I would be listening to. And maybe just some like accordion music just because.
Just get the French.
Just walk around it. Yeah, but I met up with funny enough, I met up with some friends over there, and like I met the guy like 2 days before I went over to France, and his name was Kyle, and we went to Gyukaku, the Japanese restaurant, and he was just like, oh, I said, yeah, I'm going over to Europe, and as a joke, he was like, oh, are you gonna be in Paris? Like, are you gonna be in Paris next week? By any chance? And I was like, actually, yes, I am. And he's like, oh shit, we should hang out. And we did. Like, we got falafel together.
And this is someone you know at home.
I just met him. Nice guy, though. Yeah, and he came with his friend. It was Kyle and Charlie. And we drank wine by the river, and I've never felt more French in my life.
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's amazing.
And we listened to jazz music. Jazz is huge there in the streets. You know, like La La Land was like, oh, Paris has good jazz.
Right.
Kamasi Washington was in Paris. We were listening to like live radio
And he was there.
in the car.
What kind of jazz do they play?
So really a lot. They really like Louis Armstrong.
Okay.
I heard Louis Armstrong a lot. I heard this one radio station. They played "Song for My Father," but I forgot the guy. It's like has a kind of a Latin groove to it, but it was like a actual
Song from My Father.
yeah, "Song for My Father." They played that on that radio a lot. It was, and they listened to like Ella Fitzgerald. They
Laura
listened to a lot of
Silver?
Ella Fitzgerald. Yeah, Laura Silver. It's a good song.
Oh, Blue Note Records. I've been getting a little into them.
But yeah, I mean,
That's like pretentious.
I like that song though. I mean, but I don't like the version where the guy's singing.
Mm.
But that's really beyond. But yeah, they listen to pretty much everything. And then, but like the jazz they were playing wasn't really like. It was something that I don't even know how to explain it, but there was an upright bass and there were two guitars and they would play like boom, 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 boom. Damn, what song of it? They played two songs that I recognized and really enjoyed. One song I don't know the name of and I desperately needed to find out. But anyways, yeah, so it was like that. We drank like rosé. It was really liberating to be of drinking age there. Even though I never got drunk over there because you just gotta first of all I feel like getting super drunk in a foreign country is kind of irresponsible. You know what I mean? Even though I speak French, like I've never been like you know what I mean. I never really did that. I was never really, but it was really nice to just kind of. Get the vibe. It was just a really nice vibe. I stayed in Paris for a while, and then I also went to the south, and a town called Toulon. It's where my grandmother, my uncles lived there, my cousins. I hung out with my cousin a lot, and I met some family that I've never met before. Like I said before, I had a great time. Went to the beach. Went to Belgium for a day, and that's interesting. That's an interesting story. This is kind of a story.
Before that,
yeah.
Can I switch to lighting? I miss the old lighting. Remember that last year?
Yeah, dude. Just the one nice light that would just. This is a little better.
How about this? If we turn on the bathroom light.
Damn.
This guy.
Paul is currently walking around the room trying to get the right light.
I was like.
I actually like this a lot.
All right, let me just try and mess with
Like we're in a building in New York City. This
is exactly. Yeah.
All right.
I like this. We should always do.
What's interesting is that none of the listeners
give a shit.
are going to.
This is purely for us. This is our thing.
If we change the lighting, we can bring better content.
I think so, maybe. But
so
Belgium, yes, interesting. So my aunt was supposed to go with me to Belgium, but there was a family issue, and I had to. She was like, it's fine, you can go alone. She ordered the hotel, and I took a bus there, and it was like 3 hours, so not too terrible. And I'm like in my mind, I'm like Belgium. They speak French there. I think I'll be all right. You know the guy Stromae. He's a Belgian singer, but he sings in French. And so I'm like, okay, and I see all his music videos, and he's always speaking French. So I'm like, okay, I think everybody's, and especially in Brussels, I feel like everybody will speak French. Get there, see the signs. They're in freaking Flemish, Flamand. That's how you say it in French. Flemish is like sounds like German, and it's does not. I cannot read it at all. And I'm reading all these signs, and I'm like, how am I gonna get to the? Oh no! And I get off the bus, and I'm like, fuck. But I realize that under the Flemish, there's signs in French. And a little bit in English, I think. So that's nice. But I got around and I had Google Maps on my phone, which is funny because normally my data doesn't work overseas. So Google Maps worked though for some reason. Like I guess the GPS was on, and I used it when I was walking around in Paris. So I was like, okay, it'll probably work in Brussels. No, it's right. So I get out. The place is called Gare du Nord. I go through this tunnel that smells like pee, and then so I go. I'm walking, and then this is why Belgium. It got real. It was real. All right. I don't know how to explain it. I was walking, and the blue dot that signified me on the map stopped. Right. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I make a left somewhere, and I'm looking at my phone trying to figure out what happens. And in the corner of my eye, I see it's a window. And like where you see mannequins, but there wasn't a mannequin. There was some woman standing there, and she was kind of wearing a dress, but it wasn't really a dress. There were like holes in it and stuff. And then I walked past another window, and another woman was standing in there. And this time I hear, and then I was like, look up. I'm like, where the fuck am I? I was in the red light district. Mm-hmm. I literally just I made a wrong turn, and I was in a red light district. I looked up. It was like kind of shitty. Like there were kids playing in the street for some reason. I don't know what they were doing. There were kids playing in the streets. There were these guys going in and out of these places. And it was just super weird. Like, the reason why she knocked on the window is because she obviously wants me to pay her to have sex with her. I was like, that whole concept is just weird for me. You know what I mean? I've always seen it on TV, and I was always just like, prostitutes. But like, you know, like when that shit happens, I mean, I sound like really I sound like a wimp, but I'm just saying, I'm trying to think like, wow, she literally has to rely to she has to have sex with like men to like make ends meet, and that kind of sucks. But like you don't even have to, it's just weird. I had a whole thing. I was like, but anyways.
You had a moment.
I had a moment. I had a moment when a prostitute talked to me.
That's okay.
So I was like, oh fuck. And I was going through this tunnel, and there were no cars going through it, and I thought I was gonna get robbed. I'm not even joking. But nothing happened, which is nice. So after all that, I get to the main part where there's like a bunch of restaurants and a bunch of like attractions, and it's kind of like it's kind of like Paris with the small, narrow streets, and there are not really cars allowed through there, so you can walk everywhere. And it was nice. I had really good beer. There's this dish called carbonade, which is beef stew, but it's like super, super tender, like really tender. And it came with French fries and a side salad. The side salad was nice. It was good. Like everything was great. I didn't get a chance to go to a French fry restaurant though, but you know the two things that you got to get in Belgium: fries and waffles. And I got the fries on the side of something, but I didn't have it like a special fry place. And I had moules frites, which is basically mussels and fries, and those are really good. Mussels are really good. Oh yeah, when they're prepared correctly, I feel like they're just. I
agree.
But I guess the story doesn't really stop there. Like the shit, like Belgium was great. I had a great time, but the hotel I stayed in. You know when you see a hotel or a restaurant that's like 2 stars, and you go there and you're like, oh, it's not that bad, right? This is not the case. This is not the case. So I get to the hotel. And like no one was there. No one was in the lobby. So I waited there for like 5 minutes, and then some guy comes in. And actually, I'm gonna start a little bit before that. We called the hotel, and there was it took us like an hour to like make sure this was the right hotel, because there was a guy. My aunt doesn't speak English, and this guy, she's like talking to this guy in French, and he's like, I don't speak French. And this guy, and my uncle's like, this is strange, because people in Brussels, they speak French. Maybe he's just trying to not mess with you, but maybe just, I don't know. And he's like, I speak English, so I had to like translate with my aunt. And then we had to like, it took a long time for him to, because we ordered from a website, a room, and then he's like, oh, you need to bring the ticket from the website to show that you are going to stay here with us. It was a whole thing. And so we talked on the phone, and he recognized me when he came into the room when no one was there, and he walked in, and he was like, oh, he didn't recognize one of my like I told him, like, I called yesterday, and he was like, oh yeah, you were on the phone. And I was like, oh, okay, that's good. I guess you remember me. He's like, okay, so you just need to sign this. I had to pay like €5 for some kind of deposit, but I guess it's no big deal. So I go up to my room, and the room is so small. The bed took up 80% of the room. I'm not even kidding. So I was gonna, and that was the night. I was just like, okay. I left, got back, after dinner and stuff. And the Arsenal was about to play. So I'm like, okay, we're in Europe. Soccer's gonna be on TV. Try to turn on the TV, but the remote doesn't work. So I go downstairs, It's like, hey, do you guys have extra batteries? I don't think the batteries are working. He's like, oh yeah, sure. So he gives me the batteries, plug in, turn on the TV. Just kidding, doesn't work. The remote still doesn't work. So I had to use the TV to manually do it and change the channel. Only 7 channels. Not one of them had soccer on there. Okay, and it's not so bad so far. But then I want to take a shower the next day. Actually, no, this is before. I want to take a shower, and before I wash my hand for some reason. And then I go into the shower and there was a dispenser there. I'm like, oh, there's soap. So I use the soap and I'm like, this is hand soap. They use the same soap that you use to wash your hands with to wash your body. So I had to use that. I felt like super poor. I guess I was a little insensitive, but you know what I mean. Like it was just weird having that. And then so like I go to sleep and then I wake up like and then I'm on my phone like still half asleep. And I hear keys rustle, and I hear my door open, and then this guy pokes his head in and goes, "Oh, pardon, like sorry," and then closes the door. And I'm like, did that happen? Did that happen to me when I was sleeping? Like, could they have stolen something from me? And then like this might as well happen. Like I'm not really having like a great time. And then not in the hotel, obviously in Belgium. Like I said, it was great. But yeah, I was scrolling through my phone, and like 15 minutes later. I hear a knock, and the cleaning lady's like, "Oh, what time are we going to be leaving?" And then, because I'm only staying for one day, I think I neglected to mention that. But yeah, she's like, "What time are we going to be leaving?" I'm like, "I don't know, like 30 minutes." And an hour later, I go to the hotel lobby, and then he's just like, it was around 12, and he's like, "You had to be out by 11." And I was like telling him, I was like, I was not told that, like I didn't know, and my bus was at 6. So I just walked around the streets. I was alone the whole time, so it was kind of just. But I really enjoyed that. So yeah, that was Belgium, and then I got back and I saw the PSG stadium where they played.
I saw that was really cool.
It was dope. And you know, it was really cool. I think. Well, like dishes, like the thing I know for a fact I can eat every day, probably for the rest of my life until I die, are the croissants. The bread is different there, dude. Like the bread is just good, like so good. It's amazing. Oh, it's incredible. So yeah, that was basically. I did a lot more. I just can't really remember. Maybe I'll bring it up later. But I get back
15 days.
Exactly. So I get back, and literally the day after I'm in this play with Una,
friend of the show.
So yeah, we prepared. I mean, I was originally not supposed to be in the play, but we had one guy and he dropped out. But to be fair, he's in a movie with Tom Hanks and like Meryl Streep or something.
Wow. Oh yeah, that's Spielberg's movie.
Yeah, there we go. I think so. So that's a good reason. But then we had another girl. I don't know her name, but she dropped out like really close to the deadline. So I was just like, you know what, I'll do it. And I memorized the lines because I was on the train for like 7 hours. So I like memorized the lines, and you know, Paul showed some love. Paul showed up on opening night. It was really nice. Reddmond, I don't know what you were doing. No.
My bad.
It's fine. It was like it's like a trek, but it was really fun. It was really fun just be a part of that. And then like a couple days after that, I was in about that. There were like 3 showings, so like we were always doing that, going to the city. And then after that, maybe a couple days later, I went up to Rhode Island to visit a friend. We went to Boston for a day. That was nice. Had clam chowder at this place in Boston that was really good. It was delicious. The only thing that was missing was maybe like little bacon bits in there or something, but I don't know if that like alters
JFK's accent.
Huh?
Nothing, bad jokes.
What?
I can edit that out.
Yeah, we're gonna have to cut that.
And 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Anyways,
you know what accent he does?
Like, yeah, JFK. You know, wait, what? Don't ask not what you can do for your country. No, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
All right, joke over. Continue. That's it.
Anyways. Yeah, no, and then we went to, I stayed at Providence with my friend Will, and I went up with my friend Cameron, And so I said we went to Boston. Boston was really nice. Yeah, the Fallout. Like we went to the park where like the salon was in Fallout. So I was like, oh, cool. And I bought these really. I told you. Did I tell you about the peppers, Reddmond?
No.
Okay. Well, okay.
Yeah, it's funny.
Okay.
It's a little weird.
So there's this game that we play called What Are the Odds? Do you know what this is? What Are the Odds is like, okay, Paul, what are the odds you're gonna chug this whole thing right now?
1 out of 20.
1 out of 20. All right. 1, 2, 3, 7. We both say the number at the same. We both say a number at the same time, and if we both say the same number, Paul has to chug the whole thing. Basically, it's basically like losing a bet. And we were in this jerky shop, and I said, I see these really hot peppers, like scorpion peppers, like this, like 4th hottest pepper in the world or something. And my friend Will was like, "Hey, Jared, like, what are the odds you're gonna buy that right now?" And I said 1 out of 20, and I lost. We both said the same number, so I bought them. And when I was buying them, Will was like, "What are the odds you'll eat one of them right now?" And I was like, 1 out of 10. And we didn't say the same number, but before the cashier was like, "You can't eat those now." And in my mind, I'm like, "What are you?" I'm buying them. Like, let's stop. And then I get home and I realize that they're not peppers. They're seeds to the peppers. So I have to wait for them to grow in 5 to 7 weeks. Yeah. So I did that. I bought that. What was it? Damn. What's the other town in Rhode Island that's like, where's that? There's Providence is the capital.
Nantucket?
Not Nantucket.
Not Nantucket. I went there last year. What the hell was it?
It's like near the sea.
Yeah. Oh my good.
Fact check. You gotta fact check it.
What is it?
It's a place in Rhode Island. Why can't we think of the
city
name?
in Rhode Island. I am
City in
forgetting.
Rhode Island?
Yeah.
And it's not Providence.
No, it's not Providence.
Newport.
Yeah, Newport.
We're so dumb.
Yeah. Newport was beautiful. We went to the.
I love Newport.
There were huge mansions outside. It was crazy. I think Taylor Swift has a house there or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
it was known for being the city of some of the summer White Houses during the administrations of Dwight D. Eisenhower and what does it say? Oh! So that joke had relevance, bro.
Well, actually, I said we were in Boston when you mentioned JFK, not Newport. But yeah, and so literally the day after I got, the night I got back, went to sleep, woke up, and moved into college. So.
Packed summer.
And here we are.
And here we are now, having a good time, having a grand old time. I hung out with I went up to Ithaca once too to visit Widow. That was nice, and Ithaca's interesting. But other than that, hanging out with friends, doing all that type of stuff. Good summer. Talked off for too long. Reddmond, how was your summer, man?
Not as eventful at all. This could be very quick. But, here's the thing. So, I live in a small town my whole life. Mm-hmm. It's about 2 miles long.
Wait, really?
I don't know if that's like 100% true, but that's what everyone says.
Okay.
And I remember when I lived there, you get really just tired of it because it's so small. You see the same people every day. The same people sit outside the cafe and play guitar, and it's just like, are you serious? Come on. So that's So that's ages. I go through that ages 1 to 20. So when I get here last year when we were recording all these podcasts, I felt like I grew as a person. Hanging out with you guys. I learned a lot about just, who I want to be, what I want to do, and all that. And I go home with all these ideas like, yes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to blah, blah, blah. It's going to be a great summer. I changed. I'm superhuman now. Right. Everything is different. I drive home and I realize that the town where I will be staying for the next 3 months is exactly the same. Yeah. And it blew my mind. The small town did not change at all, despite the fact that the town is, building for some reason all these bars and, it's getting a Jersey Mike's sub place, which is for whatever reason, because that's necessary. But nothing has changed. The people who sat outside and played guitar when I was a kid are still out there playing guitar and, the same coffee shops, whatever. So that obviously was not a good start to my summer. Just being back in the sameness, I guess, kind of threw me for a loop. It was a bit shocking. Mm-hmm. So then, on top of that, I needed to work. I needed to make money during the summer, and I didn't want to go through the process of going. Here's the thing: I applied for internships, and unfortunately, they wanted a junior, and I'm not a junior, so I couldn't take them. So
where would they have been, by the way?
It would have been with Viacom.
Where?
In the city.
Where? What part of the city?
I don't know.
You
I forget what I don't remember. I applied last year.
Okay. Well, I was just wondering because where I was, which that's the end of the podcast. It's the closer.
So I needed a job, and since I didn't get any internships, my parents pushed me to just get like a shitty part-time job. And so in my mind, I decided let's just go back to where I worked in high school, the Super Stop and Shop.
Wait, not Stop and Shop. Super Stop and
Shop. Wait, it's a
Shop.
Super Stop and Shop?
It is a Super
it's like
Stop
a huge
and Shop.
one?
Yes, and if they ever want to sponsor the show, I will 100% not stand for that because no, they are no good. Wow. So I applied to Stop and Shop, and of course, because I'm a former employee, they're very open to hiring me. And they say, well, what position do you want to work? And when I left. When I left to come to purchase last year, I worked in the bakery.
Oh, really?
If you can call it a bakery, it's not a bakery at all. Here's the thing about grocery store bakeries. In case you don't know, for all you listeners buying all your stuff from grocery store bakeries, nothing is fresh at all. In fact, the bread that you get just comes frozen, and we just put it on the table for it to defrost, and then it goes out, and you buy it and eat it. And the muffins.
But you don't even bake them?
No. There's no mixing. There's no baking.
Oh, that's bad.
No, absolutely. The muffins that we bought, that we set up, they come in. The mix is already made, and they're already in the little paper dish. So I have to take them out of the box, put them into a tray. They go into the oven. They go out the next day. But here's the thing: the muffins have all these preservatives and chemicals that I can't even pronounce. Ooh. So all that shit going in your body is just not good for you. Anyway, so they hire me, and I said I was in the bakery, and they said, well, the bakery's kind of full, and it's not really fair to put you in there. Then you just have to leave in a couple months. And I said, fair enough. So they ended up putting me as a cashier, my job that I worked in high school. Mm-hmm. So really, this summer was really just me reliving high school days.
Damn, I was about to say that.
And it was really weird because I felt so far removed from high school, and then just bam, I'm right back. So first couple of weeks as a cashier, I was really friendly. I didn't even care. Even people who weren't friendly, I was like putting on a smile. Hey, what's going on? Blah blah blah. It was bananas. And but then I just slowly broke down. Slowly, day by day, just standing, right, day by day, scan by scan, item by item, beat, just beat.
No, I didn't even realize that.
Every beat,
and slowly, that monotonous beep that you hear every time you scan something, that will drive a person crazy. If I wanted to torture someone, I would make them work at a grocery store and stand behind a register for 24 hours. But I started to really just lose my mind, and I just became more and more bitter. I was angry at myself because I didn't get an internship. I was just angry that I was back here, angry at just stop myself. Yeah, and the ridiculous thing was, I worked this job in high school, and the manager that hired me knew that I worked here before. But she insisted on treating me like I was like a kid who didn't know anything. So she'd be like, yeah, you can never leave your register. And I was like, get out of here. Like, I know the rules. So one day I had to go ask a manager something, and I walked away from a register. She saw me. She yelled at me. Why are you away from your register? And I said, all right. And that was really the turning point for me. And that's really the moment that I would say I started to break down as a cashier. Which is weird. I even have to say I broke down as a cashier. I don't know whoever says that.
There's a legit song on OK Computer in the middle of it. That's pretty much about that, but I digress.
On top of breaking down as an employee, I'm working with people nowhere close to my age. They have no similar interest, nothing.
Well,
so
what was the demographic of these employees?
God, just like 40-year-old women and men, just this is their Stop and Shop to them is their life. That's their job, and to me, that's not my job, and that's my biggest fear is to end up where I rely on that solely as just as money, as income. But that's them. Good for them. They got a job. No more power to them. That's just not for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I would talk to. There was this one lady. Her name, I don't even remember her name, but she was the most annoying person. And 9 times out of 10, I was always the right. She was always behind me, and I would always hear her talk just nonsense. And it's just, between her nonsense, but the bananas are on sale, you can't do that, 10 cents, it's 10 cents, more dollars. Between her nonsense just being spewed to customer after customer after customer all day, and the constant beeps, and the constant cart pushers who come up to me who just are talking just bullshit about, you get to see the movies, and I was losing it slowly. So then after a while they decided, let's just, put Reddmond, let's just make him push carts. Why not? So for the last couple of weeks at Stop and Shop, I strictly pushed shopping carts. And it was hot, and towards the end there were people like always asking for money. Like, support Metuchen Bulldogs, cheerleading. And there were these little kids, and you just hear them screaming. And I was always walking by them as they were screaming. And by the time I left, I was just so angry, just at life, at everything.
So on one voting for Donald Trump, where were you? One voting for Donald Trump. Which one?
Voting. I mean, it was bad. I mean, look, it's not a place for me. All of us here want to be screenwriters. That place does nothing to help that.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
At all.
You could definitely write something about it.
No, here's the thing. I wanted to do, nobody take my idea if you hear this, but like an office type show, but with like my experiences with the grocery store. Because look, I've seen some crazy wild things at the grocery store. I mean, you would be shocked. I've seen the bank get robbed. I've seen just people trying to steal things and cops coming, people getting arrested. I've seen, and there's characters involved there. It's crazy. But that was what I did for money, which half the paychecks I got, they were paying me the wrong amount. They were paying me the wrong hourly wage. So good for you, Stop and Shop. You really gypped me there. But a lot of the time, what I did outside of Stop and Shop, I played a lot of soccer.
I saw you on Instagram Live.
Yeah, we're always live streaming. Me and my buddy Peter, shout out. He's a casual listener of the A-Side podcast.
Hi, Peter.
Him and I are pretty big. We used to be, it's funny, we sucked when we first started playing, but then you just keep at it and you just watch yourself kind of progress. And it was we were actually really doing well this summer. Besides that, I was, me and another friend of mine had played a lot of music together, just casually and recorded it. Nothing, I don't know. I mean, it's cool. It was cool to do, and it's a cool project. That
you're not going to plug your mixtape?
All right, yeah. It's called "Hope You're Doing Well" by Reddmond and Joey. Shout out. I don't know. It's just produced with this very microphone and this very computer program. So I poured my anger of Stop and Shop into that. But yeah, I mean, I didn't get to go anywhere really. I went to the beach a couple times, Jersey Shore. I know, just like the show. But it was, pretty quiet. I got to hang out with a lot of family, which was good. My brother who I helped move to Brooklyn. I got to do that, which was fun. And hang out with him. It's always fun hanging out with him. And so I don't know. I mean, it's really just bogus work with Stop and Shop, and just kind of relaxing and recharging to get ready for this semester now, which I have a feeling is going to be pretty crazy. You think so too?
Yeah, I think so too.
I really do. I mean, I think and plus with this podcast, I mean, I was talking to Paul a lot during the summer. I was thinking a lot about this podcast. I guess I'll talk about and say this now, right? I think there's going to be a lot of changes coming to this podcast.
Well, I want to focus it more on actual screenwriting. That's my
right. No, exactly that. I should say, let me broaden my sentence. I think there's a lot of changes coming to the A-Side channel. Mm-hmm. I pitched to Paul this idea of almost creating a network, and hopefully in the beginning of the podcast you heard that little intro. So that's just a little experimentation thing.
I thought it worked out nice.
Yeah. Hopefully it does. Hopefully we'll listen back and it sounds cool. Yeah. But I do want to plug something now, so we don't have to do it at the end. Right. Something that Jared and I are working on.
Oh yeah.
We shouldn't say, I don't have a name or anything for it. Maybe but it's just be on the lookout for a little project coming to the channel that Jared and I are working on. That's going to be hopefully a weekly show that's going to be on the A-Side podcast channel. And it's going to be a really good time. It's going to be really different from what this podcast is and from what the other show that Mr. Paul Hoti wants to be doing.
This is a little more specific. So as anyone who's listened to me for any extended period of time, I thought someone...
He looked away!
No, I thought someone was... I was like, who's walking? But I do that anyway. I'm a very strange person. And my music taste is just as equally strange. And there's a lot of music I listen to that no one cares about. Or at least no one I know cares about. So I figured, since 2 is just a really weird number for a number of shows on a channel, I would do with Reddmond doing all the work, because I don't know how to do this shit. This fucking... What do you call this program?
Mixcraft?
No clue how to work that shit.
It says it right there.
Sponsor us.
Sponsor us. Or the A-Side microphone. I would have no idea. So I appreciate...
Also sponsor us, please. Thank you.
Mr. Reddmond for letting me do this. But yeah, so it'll be like a 7-minute program. Yeah, program.
That sounds like it's a show. You gotta make it more exciting.
It's a show. Yeah, it's a show.
It's a show. Program sounds like
you're hosting your own show.
Yeah,
that's good. That's
short. It's like, if you're familiar with the work of Mr. Needledrop, Anthony Fantano.
Oh, I love that guy.
Yeah, that's
the internet's busy.
Music pushing me through Tano here. Shout out to Anthony Fantano.
Basically, the idea would be to cover all the music he doesn't cover. Because he sort of covers the weirder stuff I like, but he also covers like a lot of hip hop and a lot of pop. Like you can see him covering like something like this experimental metal band record. Yeah. And then the next day he does like a Taylor Swift or a fusion record.
He does. And he's hard. So, he's really hard.
Yeah.
I didn't like him at first because of the reason.
Oh yeah.
But now I realize, he's very...
I came across him because I think he reviewed a record by this band called Electric Wizard. Mm-hmm. Now I know you guys aren't familiar with Electric Wizard. It's basically... Electric Wizard?
I'm just kidding.
It's basically if you took Black Sabbath and you put their sound in like a big milkshake. And it just sounds fucked up and dirty and just, it's fucking cool.
Milkshake?
Yeah, just so it's really sludgy. I don't want to, whatever.
No, later.
What is your show, Paul? What is your show going to be?
We're going to talk about records like that. And records that, again, no one really, that I know cares about. Because there's some internet followings for some of these records that I really love, but that's about it. I just talk about it.
Right, because a lot of the summer I was thinking we need to step up from what we were doing last year.
So,
each year needs to be some sort of progression.
I like that. I like that. That's...
So I think everyone who's listening definitely be on the lookout for both of those. A show with Jared and I, and then the show hosted by Paul Hoti.
Did we tell them what hours it's about, or do we not?
Do you want to?
No, it's up to you. I don't know.
I'll do it. Yeah. You want to get into it real quick?
Sure.
Wait,
but Paul, is that what do you have anything to say about your show?
It's just, I'm going to show you a lot of, hopefully if you actually check out all this music, and if anyone listens, you'll be listening to a lot of music that you never hear anywhere else.
Hopefully we can start doing that in the next few weeks.
Yeah, just give it time. Yeah.
We got to figure out a schedule first, get into the swing of things. But
be on the lookout for that, I guess, if you want to listen to what I listen. It's the show, I forgot the name. That's the most important. It's called What the Fuck Are You Listening To? Which I can imagine both of you probably say to yourselves. If I ever show you something, you go, what the fuck are you listening to?
You know what? I like it.
Is it going to be F ******?
Yeah, I think it should be.
I actually, WTF are you listening to?
I like
that. I like that.
That's a very classic name.
So, 7 minutes, because their show is 30 minutes. And I was like, okay, so what?
Yeah, 30.
So what? Okay, so 2 hours to 30 minutes. What's that ratio? It's like a fourth. Mm-hmm. What's a fourth of 30? 7. So I'm gonna keep it mathematical, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And then of course these guys.
So what's exciting is that which is weird. We've never really talked about this interest on the podcast.
Yeah,
we've always meant to, but we've just always escaped us.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it once, but it never didn't.
Never
it was like shot
materialized.
down. It was never materialized.
I think it was Paul Hoti's fault.
I know. Yeah,
that's fine.
But for all of you who don't know, Jared and I are really big fans of football, also known as soccer. British Premier League,
French Liga, La
Liga, Serie A,
you name it.
So what we wanted to do is also, in a way to bring a different demographic to the channel, is to definitely just kind of wrap up every week that is in soccer, just kind of wrap it up and talk about it, and just talk about some of the matches that happened in the Premier League, Ligue 1, or Serie A, whatever, what happened in transfers, whatever. So it'd just be a fun time, a good place, a good forum to talk about soccer, because I don't know if there's a lot of those around.
On YouTube, there's a couple, but they're just, I don't know. Some of them are, I don't know. It's kind of like ESPN FC. That's cool. They really talk about it. The other guys on YouTube, they just like talk about one thing. There's not really a cohesive
This is our own ESPN FC type of deal.
Yeah, I feel like it would work out.
You have a name?
I feel like FC should be in the name.
I was thinking A-Side FC.
I was thinking that too. Or Real,
AC, A-Side United.
A-Side United.
A-Side City.
A-Side City. No, I think that's too broad. United kind of makes sense, or like FC. But I feel like that it's just like people be, ESPN FC. That's kind of, you know what I mean? So,
but yeah, I mean so definitely be on the lookout for that. I'm excited to start.
No, I really am.
So we just got to nail a time and a date to just do that, which is gonna fly by talking about soccer. Because Jared and I talk about soccer all the time.
Yeah, pretty much. We played soccer today, actually.
We did.
Yeah.
And what's gonna be cool is that when Champions League is going on, we're gonna be able to just wrap up a Champions League. Talk about Champions League matches. If we were able to talk about that last year, Champions League last year was crazy. That's a story for a different time.
That is a different story for a different time. A different show podcast.
A-Side FC.
A-Side FC. Name the word.
But that was a lot of me kind of thinking up about the channel during the summer. I guess to bring it back.
And we may have more shows, or we may not.
Yeah, I mean we're open to. I have a few more ideas.
We're working on it.
I honestly did not contribute to anything. I don't really have many ideas for the show, but I feel like if I really sit down and think, because I like the format. Maybe I just kind of want to go with the flow and maybe give.
Well, let's get into the other idea. Let's just kind of not mention who we wanted to kind of do it, but it's the idea. Right?
What do you mean the idea? Which idea?
Remember what I was telling you about a couple weeks ago about film thing?
Which the idea of just
classic thing?
Oh yeah. What about it?
Should we get into it just a little bit?
We have a potential idea that may or may not happen.
Depending, because look, there's 3 of us. There's one mic. There's one program we use. I don't know how realistic it is to ask for like 4 shows to be done, and kind of.
Again, my show is 7. It's going to take like 15 minutes.
All right, fair. So I was pitching Jared towards the very end of the summer. I was thinking there's a lot of online film I guess, channels that I follow.
Ton of them, yeah. It follows contemporary, modern blockbuster films.
And there's not many that really dive into the world of classic film.
And I've looked.
Like it's 70s film, maybe a little bit. I think a lot more 80s they cover.
Oh, yeah.
90s.
The best way to look at it, post-Star Wars.
Right.
That's really, It's
post 1978? 77?
Yeah, that changed film forever. That's why,
Okay.
That's that. I personally think that created fanboy culture, which is now all those film channels. Which hey, I follow those channels too, but it's definitely, and I want to write for that kind of stuff. But that it's definitely a culture that kind of like you compare that to like I remember watching Vertigo and I looked up. Let's see if I can find anything like in that like someone talking about Vertigo.
Like if someone just
found nothing.
You know?
Really? No.
I found one in now analyzing the color of the film, but I know I want something like that digs into this movie, and I didn't get that.
And I think so. That's kind of the Paul just said digging into the classic film.
That again,
that's the idea that we want to try and
if it never happens.
No, I mean it's not. Look, here's the thing: we're just busy, so eventually it will happen.
Yeah, because
I think it's a really good idea that needs to be explored.
Do you want to? Is it going to be hosted by us or someone else? Or
let's not get into that.
All right.
Shit.
Right.
Because I'm tossing around a few names.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Got some names.
I'll tell you off air.
Okay.
Which I think you're not going to expect it. Paul didn't expect it.
I'm really excited to hear. Don't forget to tell me this at the end.
Right.
But yeah, so that's that. Look, I don't want to hog any more time. I know Paul's been dying to talk about his summers. So take it away, Mr. Paul Hoti.
So I'm. Thank you.
He's been dying to talk about this.
He's been fidgeting in his seat.
Wait, what do you think we'll be talking about here?
I don't know, because I remember we kind of hinted at our summers. He was like, for the podcast. Well,
there's two stories. There's a positive and
tell it all.
So I spent a lot of
expose.
So I live in a small town in Warwick, and it's basically what Reddmond goes through, but a lot worse. He grew up with this. I don't know this. I grew up in not the city, but Staten Island, which is close to the city, and even
literally Staten Island's a borough.
Yeah, people say it's a forgotten borough, and it sort of is, but you still have some sense of a city culture.
Okay.
Where I live now, it's like where you go if you want to raise a family. And I guess as I've realized over the summer, I already knew it because I always kind of think about, do I want that kind of life for myself? And going in, I was like, I probably don't. I definitely don't. I can't do family life. I'm kind of, like the idea of just having a family, because I see because my father's a family man. He identifies as a family man. And his life is basically, he goes to work, he wakes up at like crazy early time, like 3 o'clock in the morning. He goes to work, works. He's got a great job. He works as NYU as the food director, I think. So he just handles most of all the food there. And it's a big deal. He gets $100K a year or something like that. And that's he went there. He went. I want to give you an idea of what the living situation is like, which is upper middle class, basically.
Yeah.
Which is again now, why that's important. I know it sounds like bragging, but it's important. No, I'm serious. That's success in American eyes. That's the best you can fucking do. That's amazing, you know. But then he comes home, and he loves this shit. But he comes home, and then he deals with the son, because I have a 16-year-old brother. He's going through things and whatnot. I don't mean to bring up, as my father would say, like the dirty laundry, but it's, you know, he's raising, you know, I don't want to say my brother's a problem child, but he's going through things. He's a 16-year-old boy. He's got a lot of shit to deal with, and he's going through that, you know? Yeah. And then my father also has a 3-year-old daughter, and that's nice, and a wife and all that.
He enjoys it.
Mm-hmm. I look at what I see. I don't want to get too into it, because it's not really it's not my business.
It's not podcast business.
Yeah, it's
understood.
But I look at that and I go, I could never see myself finding any happiness in that, or any fulfillment, or any reason to have that life. So that's kind of where I'm at emotionally. As for again, now back to there's positive. I know there's positive. Which one did you want to hear? I was dying.
Tell us about the intern, about the job.
I want to save that for like the last 15 minutes because that's a whole rant, and I'd rather
Okay.
All right. So tell us about your summer.
Yeah. So
without the job.
That's because that's such a negative, painful experience. I'd rather just save that for the end.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Absolutely.
As I spent, I basically I know no one in my town, so I spent most of it just writing, and I have two ideas that I'm really proud of. One Reddmond likes quite a bit more, I think. One is it's basically it's a film script that would be set in a contemporary art college, much like SUNY Purchase, and it revolves around. You're gonna laugh. I think. Well, I showed both of you actually. I sent Jared actually an outline of this idea, and it basically revolves around this kind of college student going into college, like an arts college, and he basically ends up kind of controlling the film industry in that college. It's basically the best way. It's like Wolf of Wall Street set in an arts college, basically. Like that kind of egotistical personality let loose in an arts college. Mm. So that script would deal with a lot of shit I've dealt with, especially in the past year, about stuff like paranoia and narcissism and just greed and basically. The idea is what if I could get and I know you're gonna laugh, like a Palpatine type character, there you go, but set it in this really realistic and this kind of setting that you wouldn't expect that kind of character to be existing, Another film I looked at as an example, as a reference, was There Will Be Blood, and the big one was Whiplash. That was kind of the driving influence on the idea.
You still love that film?
Oh god, I told you, it's my favorite. It's probably my favorite film that doesn't involve people in costumes beating the crap out of each other. So I'm saying it's because it has these big themes of individualism and ambition and wanting to be the best thing, the best there is at what you do. Mm-hmm. So my script deal with that, and it's very much in the same way, and it has the same brutality to it, because it's a brutal watch, right? Watching that, and it's almost an hour 47 minutes. I would want to replicate that. How do I basically punch the viewer in the face for an hour and a half to 2 hours?
Oh, this is a movie or a
movie?
Okay,
movie. I thought about it at first as a TV series, and it's just kind of, I was like, no, it's going to be a movie. I mean, the question now is it going to be again a 90-minute feature, or is it going to be like a Casino or Wolf of Wall Street, where it's it's a 3-hour epic? You're telling an epic.
I'd probably do either.
Yeah,
so
you can write it as a 3-hour epic and then kind of shave it down.
I would outline it first and then shave it.
Have you outlined it?
Yeah, I have. I had a 3-page outline. I actually showed it to someone at the internship, like a coworker.
What did they say?
She actually wasn't too enthusiastic about it. She was like, because my main character's name's Lane. I haven't come up with a last name yet, so, but it's basically, again, he's this dark person that basically, I actually have a note about that.
What did she say when you showed her?
She was just, she said, oh, it's good, but it's too much. There's too much, there's so much scale for no reason, because basically...
There's so much what for no reason?
Scale,
okay.
Because basically the character's goal is to basically take over his school's film industry. Which means, and beyond that almost, it's because all the clubs that do it film. Mm-hmm. I have the fucking student there as a sort of he's gonna end up running that. But again, Casino, Wolf of Wall Street, even I guess Goodfellas. Only it's set in an arts college, which that just was interesting. But yeah, this character, I guess he's kind of representative of all the things I don't like about, not that I don't like about myself, but all the bad things about myself. Mm-hmm. Which again, that's great from There Will Be Blood. That's what that movie's about. It's about embracing really dark parts of yourself. Where is it? Mm-hmm. Notes. See, this is all my notes. That's why I found that book so cool. That Coppola book.
Right.
He writes like this, apparently, which I didn't know. And you guys are both. Yeah, here we go. Lane's character in a sentence. Driven by pain and loneliness, Lane strives to be the greatest college-age film producer ever and have as much control over the film industry of his college as possible. Lane sees this as making up for 20 past years of pain and loneliness. He's ultimately a very sort of sad creature. Because basically, I was watching this interview with the guy who plays Trump on The President Show. Trump Show.
The President Show?
Yeah, The President Show.
The President Show.
And, what? Yeah,
that's Scaramucci.
Yeah. No, not him. President Show. Anthony Atom. I don't know how to say his name. Sorry. Yeah. He basically described playing Trump as not this devil character, as Alec Baldwin plays him, like a buffoon. He doesn't play him like that. But he plays him as a sort of just a very sad human being, like a very pathetic, empty human being. Just is driven to hate, to fill this little hole in his heart. And that's basically what I want to do with this script. Same exact thing. So again, it's inspired by the Trump era too. How you see this rise of authoritarianism again in America? Same thing, only on a college campus. You know, what would that look like if someone just came in our room and was like, "Hey, so you guys have a podcast channel, right? Now I run this, and you're gonna advertise all my films, like a mafia."
Why would you tell him to get out?
Would I get expelled?
How does he do that?
I don't know. I have to figure a way. That's the script writing, but that's the kind of power he'd have.
Ooh, maybe it's something like everybody that has to have, for some reason, like they have to, like wants to like do some kind of artistic thing has to go through.
Well, yeah, because
has to be registered.
Yes, because one of the ideas I had was he'd end up making the school famous for what he's done, for all the whatever he's produced in this script.
Yeah.
And it'd be the point where the school would be, all right, I'll do whatever you say, because you're making us a lot of money, you know, and you're giving us a lot of attention, and you're drawing it. So again, that's to make it, I guess, real for us.
Much power. That's interesting.
Yeah, and I guess that's what the girl would respond to, because she's like, how could it happen? And that's the question I have to answer in writing the script, which I guess would be my senior project. I guess this is what I'd hope to make, I guess, or write the script. But yeah, I guess that's really that. I guess I don't know when I'll. Well, I'm pretty sure they're gonna let me do that, right? Because I was wondering, wait a second, do I have to come up with this whatever I have to write at the fucking thing, or do I have free reign? Which I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not too sure.
So I mean, I would guess if I had, I'd be able to do whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that, and then that's what I spent. I wrote the outline in June, I think, early June, because I finished. This is a reference from I think the podcast with Brett, 3, where I brought up the music, this musical I was writing, sort of. Yeah, with Brett.
Was he the third?
Yeah, he was the third.
Okay.
And he brought, for some reason it came up, I guess, that I was writing a musical, the book of a musical, because that's different. A musical that has songs and lyrics and all that, I don't write that. I write the book, or I wrote the book. And it's done. It's 110 pages, which I didn't work on all at once. I started working in January 2016, and just slowly but surely I kind of worked on it, and then I finally finished. We outlined because we had the first act done by last August, and then we were like, our second act idea we just threw out. I was working with a friend of mine, Noah, and who again I referenced before, and in act. Basically, we threw out our Act 2 idea, and then in December, like winter break, we worked on it, and we kind of we got an outline done, and then in the last week of being here, and the first, I think May, I just kind of finished that last act, and now it's done. So, I mean, the problem is with Noah, he's had an album coming out. Like, he had an album coming out in 2013 and 2016, and he's supposed to have had an EP come out this year. Like, basically right now. None of them happened. Shots fired. Yeah. But it's whatever. But it just goes to show what the chances of this thing actually happening are. I don't know. But I finished it because I wanted to learn how to do a script. How to finish something, basically, is what I wanted to learn. I think I did that. I'm proud of the structure of it, you know, because I think it's just it's a good story, I guess, and it fulfills all the, I guess, requirements of what a good story is. I don't know if it has much depth to it, but whatever. I finished it. Yeah, and then third idea is a lot more. It's older and I guess more personal. It's basically I came up with this. This is actually the first thing I ever wrote, and I've been writing it ever since. I guess not like fucking like pen to paper every day, but it's basically, I guess you could say it's my version of like a Star Wars or the Marvel, what they're doing at with Disney. And he knows more than you do about it. I sent it to you. Remember that thing I sent you way back in December? And it was 17 pages, and you never read it?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
I did not read it.
Yeah. So, which is fine, whatever.
Paul Loki hates me.
So over the summer, I just this summer I think I started working on it late June of 2014, which is my junior year, like the last day of junior year of high school. And I already had the idea a few months before that. I was just kind of bubbling together. But I basically would have, with the notes thing, that's mostly how I was working on it. There's this endless stream of just notes and just ideas that if you don't know the story, you would have no idea what the fuck it'd probably look really dumb. But then I saw War for the Planet of the Apes, right? And now it begins with that text.
I didn't see War for the Planet of the Apes.
It begins with a text of...
That was a really good adjustment. That's funny. Sorry.
It begins with this text kind of recounting the past two events, the past two films in the franchise. And then another, I guess, paragraph that introduces the film. And I was like, what if I take that and just apply it to my own story? And then I copied it, put it in a Word document, just filled in all the blanks with my own nouns. And I was like, wait a second, hold up. I just kept working, and eventually, I guess after a few hours, I had pretty much an outline for my idea. Because the thing is, I guess what I sent Reddmond, and I sent this to a few people. It follows four characters, so it's like The Wire, I guess, where it follows all these different perspectives, and it was kind of tough to kind of explain it to people in a way where it's short and they get it. So I was like, let me just cut all out and just have it be the main character, and then all of a sudden it works. I guess since I have a hard time kind of talking about, what did you think of what I sent you?
I thought it was interesting. I really think there's definitely a lot going on, enough so that it can continue the story. You know what I mean?
Because
and it's pretty even. There's a solid build up. There was that one thing where you explained it though, so it worked out. I really feel like it could just be. I'm not saying this in a bad way. I'm saying like it could just be like another show that you could see on TV. You know what I mean?
No, I know.
I'm not saying that. Not like just another show. I mean like it's like something that you could see. And you can see like you can either have a cult following.
I want that.
I think I prefer the cult following. You know, like the community cult type following or the freaks and geeks type following, that kind of thing going on, or Twin Peaks, that kind of thing. I kind of got that vibe from it. I wonder how the budget would be from a from a producer's set.
It's supposed to be either animated or comic book.
Oh, animation.
Animated? Yeah.
Animation is expensive.
Well, I know. I mean, then the question, I wanted it to be an hour long. It's supposed to be.
How many episodes?
Season 1, 8 episodes. I mean, I guess I could. So I guess in a nutshell, the concept is it's set 20 years after this world ending. It sounds super cliche, which I guess I've kind of grown to accept it as just. I would like to think it's riffing on what's popular now and what could be interpreted again in 20 years or so when this thing could be made. It's set 20 years after this world-ending event that renders New York City the only remaining city active in the world. And it's basically a metaphor for the world we live in now, with all these different countries, because it's carved up with all these different districts, and the politics of it would very much be like the world we live in now, where like there's the United States, so it's kind of powerful, and then just very influenced by world politics, which I'm very much interested in. And it kind of follows this one character who kind of is meant to be, not to say a Jesus character, but that kind of, I know, it's that kind of character, I guess. It's just character.
Yeah. Okay.
And I kind of want it, because it's a very popular archetype.
A prophet of sorts?
Not a prophet. More of like just this active character that's just...
A savior?
Yeah, basically. Like, how would you describe Caesar in the Planet of the Apes movies? Like, what's that? How would you describe in a sentence?
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's definitely kind of like this mythic type of figure.
Yeah. It's the same concept. Okay. Yeah. And it's the one that dude described as Sid Barrett. Like, that's the character. Yeah. So it follows. It's basically supposed to follow this who's our age, intentionally again, because it's basically. I like to think of it as how I look at the world in terms of morality and politics and what all this means, I guess. And it just follows this one character's journey from season 1 to season 5 and how he doesn't. I guess you could say he changed everything intentionally. So or like a Barack Obama. I know that's another reference I had in mind, especially as I developed it. Like Barack Obama. I guess some of the more charismatic presidents that we've had. I guess. And yeah, so season 1 is supposed to be 8 episodes. Then seasons 2, 3, and 4, 14 episodes, and then 16 is how we close it out in 5. And you can just twist that to the comics, like volume 1 is either 8 issues or maybe 16 issues if you split it up, and then so on and so forth. But yeah, I guess not together. I don't know if it's gonna come up again on the podcast or whatever if I tell you off the podcast, but that's kind of the crux of it, I guess. But it's basically it's it really. I have no ambition to make this at any time in the next 10 years, really. Well, unless it works out where I meet someone who wants to work on it, because it's
it's cliche, but you really never know.
I know, yeah. I mean, because it's a very specific kind of storytelling. It's basically, again, it's closer to like fucking. Like video games or something, like where it's very I'm good. No, thank you. Where it's very much like that kind of again mythical storytelling, where like a Star Wars or a Marvel or whatever those comic books sort of, where it's very fantastic. It's trying to say something about the world we live in now and how you can make things for the better, all that shit. But yeah, other than I can't. I if I'm 40 years old and I finally get to make it, I'm cool with that. But that would hopefully be not to say my masterpiece, but it totally should be like my masterpiece, or my whatever. But Stephen King, the Dark Tower books, that's how he feels about those, or my Star Wars with George Lucas's relationship with what he created. That's about it. But I guess those 2 projects are what I'm most proud of, and then of course the musical. And that's basically.
I like the music. I think that's so interesting for you as a person.
That's why I picked
musical.
It. Yeah. Well.
And I think it's really. I think it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I hope we're good because it's supposed to be a comedy. I mean, I guess to get more on that, because I have way easier time talking about that because I don't give a shit about it. Ultimately, Well, because I have no connection to material like the comic and the script. That's like a part of me, Yeah. That I had to unearth and then just. Hopefully put on the fucking page. And then if someone consumes this piece of entertainment, they go, "Oh, I know a little bit more about this person now."
That's a very interesting way to put it.
So, but you
don't feel connected to it, even if
not even a little.
Really? Even though you're working on it?
I'm finished work. I'm done with it. I'm never gonna look at it. I'm probably not gonna. I'll look at it again just to give myself an ego boost. Like, because I think it's a generally good script. But it's not. It's just none of me in it. I mean, there's a few.
So
it
has to have like something. Not you. It has to have something you can relate to in order for you to enjoy it.
Oh, absolutely. I can't. Yeah, all the movies I like. Fucking, I watch a movie and it's a classic. But I watch them. I get nothing from it. Like,
really?
I watched The Godfather. Over break. Mm-hmm. And it's all about family. That's what it's. I mean, I was reading what Capello said. He said it's about power. I mean, yeah, but the focus is on family dynamics, being a family unit. Would you agree with this, Reddmond? Like that's the focus.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. I mean, that sounds mean, but I don't give a shit about the idea of a family now.
Oh,
of course, the family, like my mother, my stepmother, my father, and I guess that part.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to be, I guess, my brother. I thought you were going to say that.
But that, yeah, of course, especially my father. I would say I have an interesting and valuable relationship with my father. But the idea of like going home to fucking Thanksgiving and fucking Christmas, I get nothing from that. No offense if they ever happen to listen to this. I mean, you'd also never hear me say that to you in person if you're listening. But whatever. But it's just fucking. I'm sorry, and I totally think that's why I didn't get as much enjoyment of The Godfather as you did. Because I'm sure that's a big thing for you, right? Is that going home, like Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all that? Awesome. I'm glad, and I'm pretty sure it's the norm, which is probably, I think, why it's considered a masterpiece. Because I don't think there might not be any better story to tell this kind of family story than the fucking Godfather, But then you get The Godfather 2. What's that all about? Isolation, anger, just paranoia and control. I relate to that shit. Mm-hmm. So of course I'm gonna watch it and go, oh, this is a great movie, And yeah, that's so again, what your life is like totally influences what your taste in art is, I guess.
I feel I can see how you think that. And I can see why you think that way. But I feel like sometimes it's better if you don't relate to something, maybe that means you don't really know something as well. And sometimes, like, it's good to learn. And I feel like it's really good to learn. You know what I mean? It's not calling you out or anything. This is saying, that's how for example, really good film. It's on Netflix. I enjoy Beast of No Nation.
That's an incredible film.
Oh my goodness. I think it should have won an Oscar.
That's an amazing movie.
Very, very fantastic film. I can't relate to anything. I can't relate to
me neither.
Sure. Not even like it.
I can't relate to anything in that movie.
Nothing.
And the movie's incredible.
Nothing. No, absolutely nothing.
I
cannot admit to. I don't want to spoil the movie, but I can't relate to like. To being in a constant state of like never knowing like what's gonna happen the next day. I can get sort of. You never know what's gonna happen the next day, but like I can get a pretty good idea. You know what I mean? But like straight up in Africa, they're saying, oh, the forces are getting closer to their village. Like they have to. It's just constantly. It's like it's insane. Like I cannot relate to being a child soldier. You know what I mean?
Well,
and what's funny? Una's sister June, she has a boyfriend named Patrick, he went through that. He was from the Congo. He's from the Democratic Republic of Congo, I think. And he has scars over his body. He did that when he was younger. He doesn't know where his mom is. Right. They don't know he's alive. That's crazy. Right. You can't really relate to that, but you can learn from it. And I feel like if a story is really told well, you can feel for something that you don't relate to.
I agree with that.
Well, I also have an empathy problem. So
really?
Oh, you haven't noticed that? There's the lack of empathy.
It's like an angry shooter.
What?
An angry shooter. Like chewing. Really, Paul?
I was chewing really loud for some reason. It was like obnoxious. My bad.
I wonder if that's part of it actually. Why I can't. I guess. I mean, of course, I'd love to watch this as a case study. Like, let's show Paul this story about this horrible things that happen on planet Earth. Mm-hmm. But no, I totally like someone tells me something, I'm like, I don't know, I just don't feel it.
I feel it. That's very honest. It's an honest. That's honestly who you are. It's very genuine.
It's Palpatine.
You're Palpatine.
Which again, I would try to challenge the script to go, okay, what does this actually mean for me? What's gonna happen? To me, what does this mean?
Like, Paul, I can never imagine you crying. As funny as that is, I just feel like because earlier, Reddmond and I were talking about what would it look like when Paul would like throw up or something. But like, I just feel like you don't have like tear ducts or anything. I just feel like
if he does,
it's not robotic, but just you know what I mean.
Yeah, I guess that happened like that. Like, oh.
No, I just feel like, oh man, I'm not saying it to be.
No, I get it.
You know what I mean?
It's
I think it would freak me out if I saw you crying. I'm like, Paul, no.
That's how I know something's really wrong.
Right. Dude, I will if I see you crying, I will just drop everything.
Paul, what do you need?
Paul, what is good right now? Do you want to talk? Like,
are you hungry? What's wrong?
What's wrong, man?
Like I gotta be crying because I'm hungry. Like,
I'll get you food. Just stop crying.
Stop crying, please.
Yeah. No, but that was just a thought.
I wonder if that influenced. But here's the thing. I mean, again, but I watched Moonlight. And I still relate to that definitely. Like with Chiron, I totally have. I think a lot. Not the whole
Outcast. Not the sexuality thing, but
I think it's like as in like very uncomfortable sexuality. I think it's totally in my ballpark. I guess.
Okay.
You know, not in that way, of course. I don't, because he's a gay man. And of course, he's dealt with a lot more shit than I have. But I still think there's that core that I could go, I see a lot of myself in. Mm-hmm. And of course, I told Reddmond this, but if you want to know what my birth mother is like, Chiron's mother. That's basically.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, so that's more insane. Or less. So, but yeah. So that's why when I watch it, I'm like, oh, okay. But
that makes a lot of sense.
But no, I don't know. I mean, I'm glad. Yeah.
I mean, I don't relate to that, but like again, but like her performance was phenomenal.
Oh, I think
absolutely. Just watching is that I almost cried. I literally almost cried to the part where she was like, I haven't always been there for you, but I'll always be your mother. That I don't know, like obviously my parents, both my parents. I'm very, very fortunate to have both of my parents in my life. They're fantastic, love them to death. I can't imagine like being in a situation like that. And I think that's a little bit. It's scary. It's uncertainty is pretty scary. You know what I mean? So living in something, but like I don't know. It's just so like again. That's what I was just saying. No, but yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. What was in from there? I think it's interesting that. I guess most people can still watch something and go, yeah, I can't relate to it, but that was fucking awesome, Mm-hmm. I mean, again, it's basically, I'm pretty sure anytime you watch a movie or a song or whatever, you do, especially, I guess, movies, especially a movie like that, you do get the reason you enjoy it is because you have empathy,
Yeah, totally.
Because if this doesn't resonate with you, it's because you're not, what are you feeling when you're watching this,
Mm-hmm. Dude, when I watched The Lion,
oh my fucking!
That movie broke me down.
Really?
It was so good, and I usually can keep it together during a film, like I won't cry. Mm-hmm. I was freaking out,
really,
so intensely.
Like you were crying?
Yeah.
Oh man!
But like, and it's not even a sad movie. Like it's like overall, it's like a kind of feel good movie. But it just got to me. It got into like my bones, and I was just like, oh my goodness, this is an incredible story.
Now, what would make that?
Here's what I think it was.
What is it?
I don't want to spoil it, but there's something.
Don't spoil.
There's something that happens with. There's a brother character, and the brother character is very pivotal to Sharu, which is the main character's name, and they have this really honest, pure connection. And it reminded me like of my brother and I. Yeah. And when all this stuff like happens, when you watch the film, you know what I mean. Yeah. It just hit me like I was like, oh my god, like this is so sad.
Damn, I think I know what happens there, but doesn't matter. I will still watch it. But I see what you're saying.
No, I mean I didn't spoil it with that, but I remember just thinking like, especially. Very like last shot of the movie, I was like, "Oh my goodness, why are you just milking more tears out? This is ridiculous."
You really sold it. I'm gonna watch it.
The movie's incredible, though. Highly recommended.
The last movie I cried to was Fruitvale Station, and I could relate to that. Not relate to it, but like, have you seen the Ryan Coogler Fruitvale Station? Oh, what about you?
No, I have not.
Oh well, it's about. I'm forgetting his name. But it was the last 24 hours of a man's life before he was killed by the police. And even though like Oh no, it's just I cried pretty bad, yeah, very bad. Like during the even though you know what's gonna happen, they showed the cell phone video and the footage and they cut it off right before the gunshot rings. But yeah, I was crying.
If you ever want to see me cry, you can just put on like a movie. That's Dark Knight. Finally, Spider-Man 2. That
cried during Spider-Man 2.
You cried during Spider-Man 2?
I can't even think of a part that weren't crying.
At the internship, I was playing. Someone posted something about Spider-Man 2, I think, like an article, and I was just going, "Oh, let me watch this scene again with the Aunt May thing. Remember that in the middle of the movie, or 2 things ago? No, not that. When
only tells her,
and the scene after that with her when she forgives him. Oh my god!
I haven't seen Spider-Man 2.
I would never. Watch it again.
I will. I've seen it I've literally seen it over 10 times.
Because it's the
moment. Cry.
Because it's such a. Because think of it, the nephew, which is interesting. Because I guess I haven't gone through that either. But I still emotionally get it. Basically, she forgives him for almost causing the death of her husband. You know, and she's able to still go. You know what? I forgive you. And then she gives this whole amazing speech about like what it means to be a hero, what it means to do good things in the world. I fucking love it. One of my, I think,
Palpatine. How can you love that?
Which is interesting. Yeah,
Palpatine doesn't cry.
I don't know.
Does Palpatine cry?
Well,
probably alone in the shower.
The whole point is that he doesn't. That's his whole again, which I guess going back to the script idea, I would want to write something about that. Well, okay, what if I was truly like that? You know, just empty Trump-like vessel.
Like Frank Underwood.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's another influence on House of Cards. Like the whole politics of like, what if I take a House of Cards and throw it in the college environment? What does that look like? Dear White People is another one that I think could have some interesting dynamics.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So because but the thing about that one is it's very almost satirical, which I would kind of remove. I would want it to be a very funny script. Again, like Wolf of Wall Street or Casino or whatever, but in a very like dark way, I guess. Which again, that's another thing I'd have to figure out while writing. Like, how do I make this kind of character, I guess, funny? Which might be easy, I guess, because this character would be like, I don't know, I'd hope him to be like, again, I guess again, he's basically me but worse. So all the things that the negative parts, I would just channel into this character and hopefully be funny, I guess. But I think that the big reason why I like movies so much, and I guess music too, is it's really the only way you can really feel emotion, I guess. Because otherwise, it's just kind of this blank slate of
Paul Hoti.
Yeah. So I think that's a big part of why. And another thing, before I guess to wrap up, I guess the summer discussion for me.
So what?
You could probably jump into your intern story.
Yeah.
I will.
You're really, dude. This shit better be good.
Yeah.
Like
I hope so.
You were like teasing me the whole summer. You were like, just wait. And
It
then
might not be. I don't know. But
if it's not, I'll be honest with you.
it is one of the worst things I've ever went through.
Oh my
In an
god.
objective way, though, where it's like nothing happened to me badly, but it was just a surreal kind of like this exists. I know I'll get to that.
Oh, yeah.
But I was over the summer too. It's another thing I was dealing with emotionally, I guess.
Oh damn.
Well, because I was talking with my parents, I guess, and when it would come up like what I want to do in my life, and they already know it. And I guess accepted it, but it's like the way they would frame it is like in the career you're choosing. And, they'd say it like that, like, because at the early part of the summer, it was like, you have to get a job. I'm like, okay. But how I wanted to spend my summer was writing that script idea for 3 months, and that didn't happen, but whatever. But ideally, that's how I would spend it. But then, without a job, I wouldn't, because I don't need a job for I mean, I get it, like, get out of the house and get money, but it's more economical of my time, more useful for me to be writing. And a job kind of takes away from that. It doesn't take away all of it, but it's like it takes a big kind of chunk of time away from me. And my fucking stepmom was like, in the career,
Damn, dude.
In the career you're choosing, you have to do it. You're gonna have a job or two, and then you have to go home and you have to work on your projects until you make it. That's what your life will look like. And of course, I didn't say it, but I was like, yeah, of course. So why am I not taking advantage of it now when I don't need that money and just write? But whatever. But again, to get to the main point, it's like they always think like you're choosing this. And I don't think they realize that if I don't do this, I would be miserable. Oh my god.
If you don't write?
Yeah, if I don't do this for a living in some capacity, oh my god. Imagine being political science. Where's that shirt? Fucking political science.
Oh my god. I was thinking about that the other day. If I didn't transfer?
If I didn't transfer?
If I didn't transfer from...
Yeah, what would you do? What would your life be like?
I'd be a communications major. And I thought it would be... I thought it was cool because I thought it was close to film.
Right,
and
but you wanted to do fucking film.
I wanted to do film. And I applied for the film. Did I tell you that? I applied for the film thing up in Buffalo, but I couldn't.
Well, it's good you did because it's a tiny program.
Mm-hmm.
So here it's like you have way more connections.
Yeah, you're closer to the city.
Way closer to the city. Yeah. So not to shit on them, but
you don't care about shitting on them.
I don't.
I don't.
I do care, sort of, because I do have that sort of empathy of like they're doing what I want to do. So good for you. Hopefully it all works out for you.
Mm-hmm.
Probably won't. Good for them. Discount
shots.
But yeah, like, if you were to become like a media something at some company, how would you feel emotionally? What would you?
I wouldn't feel like complete. I don't think.
Right.
Because like I've wanted to do this for a while now. I wanted to just be involved. Like I've seen, it wasn't really big movies that made me want to write or do anything or make anything. It was literally the small sketches I would see on YouTube, the like indie films that I see. Nothing with huge budgets or anything, except for like the Spider-Man films. I always wanted to like, but that's like a little different. But mostly it was just like, smaller films like that and like shows, TV shows a lot, like a lot of TV shows.
Like what TV? Like what kind?
I loved like Community was huge for me. Like a lot of so like, damn, why am I? Oh yeah, so Community. I remember watching like when I got Netflix basically was when all that stuff happened. Even though Community isn't on Netflix,
right?
But The Office, yeah, Parks and Rec, all stuff like a lot of NBC shows. As well as but as well as other I'm afraid like I think Freaks and Geeks too. Freaks and Geeks kind of made me want to do stuff like that. Just Derek Comedy stuff on YouTube literally made me want to like. I was like, that's it, I'm doing it because they were. It was relatable. That was relatable for me because I'm about to go to school. They were in college. They were in NYU when they were making these YouTube things. They make YouTube videos and they were getting like millions upon millions of views, and they made a movie from YouTube. They started on a platform and they went one step further and they made a movie. And I think it's hysterical. I mean, it's immature kind of humor, but I think it's hysterical. And then now what? So like Dominic Dierkes and DC Pearson and Donald Glover, believe it or not, they're all three. They're all the trio. Donald's just doing all sorts of stuff right now. I know him personally. Mr. Glover has been doing all sorts of stuff since then. I remember that was in 2012. That was back when I really wanted to do it. And then Dominic Dierkes, he writes for the shows. He writes for like shows on NBC. Like he wrote for Community. He wrote for some other things. I'm trying to remember what he does now. DC Pearson is also a writer. So it's just like it's stuff like that.
That really got you going.
Yeah, that really is. It's like wow. It's not so much that I can do this. It was like I want to do this. I really, you know what I mean. And yeah, I think it's like I'm really willing to like put in the work and try to you make connections, make friends. That's why I say try it. Cause it's not purely because you never know, they may be famous. No, I just like the more people I have, maybe the more material I can have to write about. You can maybe develop a character. You know what I mean? Maybe not. It's just nice to know people. But yeah, no, that's kind of why.
Right. Now imagine someone kept saying, "Well, you're choosing." How would you feel?
What do you mean? Well, I'd say, well, you're choosing what you want to do. It's all a choice.
I guess what I was thinking was, again, they didn't get that. If I didn't do that, I would be. They don't know the depths. And I know I'm sounding dramatic, and I am, of misery I feel every waking moment.
Well, somebody's got to. Everybody has something that they're really passionate about. Exactly. You know what I mean?
So then why go? Well, you're choosing that because that just kind of like.
What do you mean? What do you? How
that piss you off?
Wait, what does she mean by saying you're choosing? What, can you say it again? I'm sorry, I'm really trying to understand.
Well, she'd say like
you're choosing to do writing.
You're choosing.
Yeah.
I guess to be optimistic, maybe she's just saying, well, this is the
do you think she meant it that way though?
I don't know, but the cynical way, which I'm a deep cynic, is like because you want to do this silly shit for the rest of your life instead of doing something more sensible. Like, well, hey, you did political science.
That's how I probably would have saw it.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck, you had political science going for you. You could be a fucking lawyer or a researcher, or just blah, 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 something sensible. We could have you make money and have a family and have a wife and kids and a house and all that. And I don't think she fundamentally, or any of them, get that that's not me, Like, that's just, there's nothing in me that would put me there,
Yeah.
Because if I honestly, God, I hate to say, I would basically be Steve Bannon.
Whoa! Wait, Steve
Bannon? Steve Bannon was the architect. He was like, he actually just got fired a few weeks ago from the White House, but he was like,
that
guy.
Damn, dude.
This is evil fuck,
Damn, boy.
Because what else would I have to do? Because I go home.
He just compared himself to Steve.
That's insane.
Yeah, dude, I got it.
Paul,
being
you've
honest,
developed
there's something,
damn.
Because it's either that or I just be depressed.
So your stepmom says that and you get pissed off?
Yeah, because that's.
You yell at her?
No. Or you just walk away and they just
and it's, I would say, honestly, maybe it's a little more annoyance than anger, maybe. Because it's just like, dude, you don't get it, Come on, But yeah, I just don't like that thing. I don't know. Because again, how would you say it? It's, I don't know. Because I just don't like that they emphasize that I could be doing something else. No, I won't. I can't do anything else. Because then again, otherwise, I mean, if you want to be less dramatic, I'd just be miserable. Just wake up every day.
9 to 5.
Go to 9 to 5. Hey Jimmy, hey Joe. All right.
Water cooler talk.
Right.
Water. Oh my God. You know what? You know what's crazy?
What?
As a kid, that's literally what you think a job is like. You wouldn't when you're like. I mean, you're everybody's like, oh, I want to be a firefighter. I want to be this. Yeah. But like low key, like in my head, I'm thinking, oh, wait, I'm gonna get a job. Like literally, cubicle, typing.
All right, can you stop? I'm trying to work on my TPS report. I'm trying to.
You know what I mean? Like, have Cheryl fax those to you, like,
Get the derivatives on my desk by noon.
Literally, that's like...
Get up, alright.
That's like a lot of, Paul has overreacting something. Oh, okay, cool.
Nothing fell out.
Alright, I guess I'll see you guys go home, go on the subway, sit, go home, lay down.
Wait, you go home?
And then go, I'm going to be doing this forever.
6:30 in the morning comes.
Up. Just walk. No one's next to me. No one's in my living space. I don't say hi. I just walk. All right. Sit down again. 9:30. All right. Time to work. TPS report. All right. And then I die.
Isn't there an episode of SpongeBob where that kind of happens?
That's what. Yeah, actually.
But then you slowly watch his face kind of just become like a frown.
Wait, Squidward? That's what.
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
He goes to like the town where everybody's like him.
Yeah. And it's just, there's another one actually that you maybe think something else. SpongeBob.
What was it? I can get used to this. I don't think he said that, but.
Life on the outside. It's just funny stuff.
And not be in prison.
Yes.
Coming to bed, honey? Yes, dear.
Forever. Forever. And ever. And ever.
That's crazy.
And then I die, and then I just exist in this abyss. I don't.
Yeah.
Just death, and that's
just
that
death?
was my life.
Is that what you're waiting?
And I go home every Christmas, and hey Paul, how's your job going? It's a great job, right? Yeah, it kind of pays like $60,000 a year. I'm trying to work up to $70,000. That's good. That's honest, Paul. You made a good choice going from screenplay writing, which look honestly
that was your choice.
But hey, look, now you're with political science. Look at that. You're making I know political science, but you're at that firm. You really. That's just honestly, you made the right choice. All right.
Proud of you.
Anyway, I'm gonna go back to my life over here with the kid, and we set the point. Dad! and my brother, my cousin Joe, hey! I'm just gonna, how's it going? That's great. Listen, oh shit, sorry, one sec. Little kids are here, hey, you say hi to us.
This guy is a cynic.
Say hi. Give me a name, like an Italian sounding name.
Sal?
Sally, you remember Sally, right? Of course you do.
Sally.
Tell Uncle Paul how you doing. You're good. That's nice. Forever, I see him like, and then all right, bye guys. Go home. Back to bed. 6:30. Train, bus, whatever. 9:30. Time working TPS report. That's basically, and I guess there's a long way of saying I don't think they understand how that made me feel, I guess. It's really, I don't know, like, do you guys have a relationship with your parents, or is it like they get you?
No, they really support me,
Yeah.
My mom was always just like, oh, you should do this, you should play here.
My dad,
my father was that too, but it's the deeper shit that I'm like, you sure about that? I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Not once have my parents said,
it's your choosing.
No, they never. They've always been like, "Oh, that's cool," because they knew from a young age I wanted to do something like that. My dad's always just like, "Oh, what are you up to?" I was asking. So.
And my father does that too. I don't know. It's weird. I'm dealing with that for a while.
151.
Paul, you gotta wrap this up, and it better be good.
Well, because it's talking about that dovetails this pretty nicely.
There we go.
All right.
So I'm getting all that talk like you're choosing this, and I'm like, job. It's like, I'll go to fucking Warwick. I'll go into the town, try to find a job. Apply to 5 places actually. None of them get back to me. None of them. No money, no job, nothing. Parents are bothering me, blah, 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 blah. And then on June 12th, I get a message from an internship I applied to in May, right after I got back from school. In May, I think 15, I applied. And it was the description was, as you said, actually, because this is good, because I've always told people, like, well, my friend Reddmond said, creative development. That's what it was. It was described as creative. Actually, I can pull it up right now. Because, we're going to get into this. Creative development intern solar films. So here we go. The job's still here. And of course, there's an alert above it. Always be on alert for potentially fraudulent job postings online. That will be important. So, description: established production company in Soho, NYC, is looking for creative development interns to help develop features and other projects.
Yeah, it sounds right up your alley.
Yeah. Requirements: ideal applicants should have great writing skills, screenwriting experience, and a solid grasp on the development process, all of which I have. Applicants should be creative, love challenges, have their own unique voice, and strong work ethics, but also fun to work with. Okay. The ethics, like, why do you spell that's weird. Ethics, whatever. So I apply, I get the email, and the guy says, and this is, hey, can you call us tomorrow? Out of the blue, I go, okay, sure. Just can you send me the cover resume and cover letter and resume? I'm like, I'll put that shit together, send it.
Bam.
Calls. He calls back. I think at like 12 or something like. I forgot to call first. I think I called him. I totally called him. And it's these small details. And I pick up the phone, and he picks up, and he's like, he's this older sounding Asian man, which is cool, okay. And I have a little trouble understanding him, but I can still get it. And it's like, hey, so this is the first thing he says. One of the first things. So can you come in tomorrow at let's say around 12-ish. And I told him, well, actually, sir, I live in Warwick, New York, which is about 2 hours away from the city by bus and all that. Oh, okay, so you come around 12 tomorrow, like, so. I guess he didn't really grasp where I was living, but I guess he did. And he's like, he got into this fucking story about how I'm doing his voice wrong, but whatever. I had this intern that would travel 4 hours to where I work and then go home for 4 hours. And I'm like, oh, hey, that's cool. That's awesome. I'm glad this is entertaining because it's only going to get better from here. Okay. I'm glad because I was worried about this. But I'm like, okay, cool. So I guess because I'm like, I desperately want this because if I don't go after this, every single idea and value and what I represent, I guess, means nothing. So I'm like, I'll do it. Fuck it. Let's go in. So I'm like, yeah, I'll come in for the interview. All right. I go in the next day. Ask my dad for tickets. I go in. I get there and I walk in and I just have to get up for this. And I walk, I see him. He's like my height, I guess, very skinny. He has his kind of Grammy glasses with the, what do you call it, the string in the back. So he puts them like this. Okay, hi Paul. He shakes my hand and he brings me back and I pass these 2 rooms. And both are filled with people my age. So I'm like, oh shit, this place is fucking like shit. Holy shit, this is big. So I go and I sit down and he's like, all right, so
how many people were in the rooms?
Huh?
How many people were in the rooms?
First one was about, from my count, like 7 people, and the other was like 5.
Okay.
Working?
Yes. Like, the one with the 7 people, they were on their phones. I was like, maybe it's break or something. Mm-hmm. Whatever. So I go, but they were dressed nice. As in, like...
How did you dress?
Nice. I wore fucking ties. I hate fucking ties. But my father's like, wear a tie. I'm like, whatever. Okay.
Yes.
So I sit down and then he talks to me for 2 hours. 2 hours. And he just talks about himself for 2. I mean, he also asked, like, just bring your resume, which I sent him, but he asked me to bring it. And I was like, okay, I think it's just a test. Mm-hmm. Let's take a listen to the directions. And I gave it to him. He's like, so listen, this 80% of this work is business. And I'm like, yeah, I know that because a lot of stuff in the script is business. It's like, all right, it's because a film is an investment at the end of the day, a film or a TV show. What's up? What is that?
If it's recording on this hasn't been recording.
How far?
No, it's been recording off the laptop mic, not the blue.
Okay, is it still recording?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
I just don't know how good the quality is going to be.
It sounded the first 3, I think, or 2.
I don't know what happened. My bad. Anyway, continue.
Really, how long has it been recorded with that?
The whole time.
The whole time, bro.
Didn't I plug it in?
I don't remember.
Throwback. It works, right?
Yes.
It works. So for 2 hours, he's talking to me. And he says, because it's true, the film industry, you're selling investments, basically, or potential investments. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, but he sounded so like mean and cool about like, this is what it is. So did you know that of all the people going into, this business, maybe 5 people make it? And I'm like, I could see that. I mean, because I guess, with the numbers and everything, but I just went with it, And he's like, I'm a hard ass. I will kick your ass.
Who said that?
That's direct. That, I will kick your ass. Direct quote. And he said, like, if you fuck up, I will tell you, get the fuck out of here. All cursing, by the way. He curses a lot. I will kick your ass. I will, what is he? He also said, I will bite your head off. Just really violent. Like
I would have walked out.
Yeah, I would have not returned.
But, again, I want this desperately. I will kill someone for this kind of thing.
Damn.
So, again, if I didn't take this job, what does that all mean? So, you know what? All right. 2 hours later, 2 hours later, just this old man just going through. And I told my father about it. He's like, yeah, you didn't get a job interview. That was 2 hours of this old guy talking to you. And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. But he told me I got hired later that night. So I go in that Monday. And I go in, 9:30. I had to wake up at 5:45 and whatever. I walk in and it's empty. It is. I don't know if it's picking. I'm sure it is. Whatever. I walk in and I go, where is everything? Walk into the back. I open up and I see someone. Oh, are you for Eric? Yeah. Okay. Cool. He'll be here in a few minutes. He's living the first day. My first day. And what are we doing? Oh. And what happened? And then he comes in with, I think, she comes, because it was a girl, and she comes in to fill her water at the sink. Because they did the same thing in the kitchen sorts. They're like, so do you work for Eric? Oh, no, we're another company that rents, we pay rent to Eric. That's my boss's name. And I'm like, oh, so who works for Eric? Oh, you're actually, I think you're the first one for now. Okay, cool. Okay, so I sit down, and then I think at like 9:50, he walks in, Eric, and he's got his shit, and he's got a fucking, he walks in, oh, hey, Paul, and it's like, oh, it was the train was late and everything, blah, 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 and he sits down, and 20 more minutes of blah, 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 no, actually, you want to take a guess? Makes me take a guess. Blah, 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 take a guess. Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, blah, 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 let's get to work. Blah, 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 blah. Opens his computer. It's not working. An hour, he's like fidgeting with it for an hour and a half. Well, we have to learn what my job responsibility, because he didn't explain that, by the way. He was very vague what I had to do for my job. Mm-hmm. And then an hour and a half later, it just fucking works. And he's just, I told him, like, you want to go to the Apple store and just get this, look at it? And he's like, oh, no, I got it. Turns on, and then he starts showing me job responsibilities. My first job responsibility, and you guys, I guess, already know this. My first job responsibility, is this thing out now? Or is it?
No.
Whatever. My first job responsibility is Craigslist postings. So
Craigslist postings?
So my job is, I go in, 9:30, open my computer, log on to Craigslist, and I basically, he has 8 accounts, and I'm supposed to repost old postings on all 8 accounts, 6 times a day. And he goes, so he's supposed to do it 9:30, 11, 12, 1:30, 5:30. Okay. I know, but it's important to know what his speaking rhythm, because it just makes it that much more irritating. Because it's not just that. It's just the way he's annoying, It's not, I swear, I know it sounds really, I'm trying to apologize for myself for trying to excuse it, but it's really, you'll get a bit of idea how he talks later, because that's my second job responsibility. Anyway, so I do that. That's, again, 8 accounts, 6 times a day. That's job 1. And job 2, and this is where, this is a little more fun. So he has a Facebook, and basically his company.
Do I get to see it?
Yes, you can actually.
Oh man.
So basically, his company is essentially, it's a film workshop company. So if you're Joe Schmo and you want to learn how to film something, like just how to do film, you go to Solar Film Video, Solar, not Solar, Solar. But like the sun. Yeah. Direct quote, by the way. Solar, like the sun. Mm-hmm. So film, what's it called? It's basically film. If you're Joe Schmo, you want to learn how to film something, you go to him for 5 days, and he says, I teach you all the basics. You know how to make a movie after this. Okay, cool. So that's legit. That's what small time film company means. You're doing stuff like that. So okay, cool. So it says you have to advertise for us. Okay, cool. And this is what the advertisements look like.
You wrote all this?
Want to go to the ones I wrote? Sure. Okay. Look at this fucking bullshit. Look at all of it. Let's pick this one.
You wrote this one?
Yeah. Now here we go.
Directing is challenging. We challenge you. Light and Shadow. Day 2 directing workshop, July 22nd, 23rd.
Are those all hashtags?
Is that Ben Affleck?
Oh my god. Those are all hashtags.
Did he make you do all this?
Hashtag filmmaking, hashtag filmmaking workshop,
hashtag Despicable Me 3,
hashtag Spider-Man. Did you add those hashtags for yourself or like?
He made me add every single one. I think because it's just formula. It's just these are the things, and then the last 3 are the current movies of the week that are popular.
Okay.
Whatever. And again, how he created directing, challenging. We challenge you. Light and Shadow 2-day directing workshop. Join us. Reach your potential. That's how we talk. That's why the rhythm is important. How he talks.
Does he read the hashtags?
And then he says, yeah. And he says, yeah. They make the filmmaking workshop. Yeah. He'd say, yeah. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
No, yet.
Yeah.
Maybe it's his accent saying yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I maybe. So yeah. You know, to put the Spider-Man, yeah. And then you say you get the postings. That's how you postings.
What do you say?
Postings. Not postings. Postings. Like postings. That's it. So I'm like, all right, I got bamboozled. It's still a job. It's
job or
not paid, by the way, and it isn't even offered to pay me for like just expenses to get there because I have to take a fucking train for 2 hours and a fucking subway for 30 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever. How many fucking?
So how long is the commute in total?
3 fucking hours. Really? 3 hours.
Like that to and from?
I wake up 5:45. I get there 9:15.
And then you leave at like 6 and you get home at 9?
5:25. I got to leave. And then I get home some nights 7:30. I got home at 8 one night, 8:30. And then go to bed at 10, 11 because I have to wake up 5:45 the next day. Wow, brutal. But you know what? Look, at least my parents do not talk about, fucking they don't have a job.
Yeah.
Shuts them up. And it's gonna look great on my resume. Or at least good on my resume. I worked there for 2 months. And my original schedule was, as he said, he originally said 3 days a week from 9:30 to 5:30. And he's like, how about 4 days in the interview? I'm like, okay, cool. After 2 weeks of that, I'm like, fuck this. And I made up the excuse that I had to help out my stepmom at home. With the baby and everything, the dog and all that.
with the dog, with the baby and everything.
And the dog and all that. So, and he was like, okay, cool, you work Monday to Wednesday now. And I remember that last Thursday that I worked, I was eating my lunch. I finished it, and then, I think I finished it, I was just watching Collider. But I think John Campia. Which is an important part of my diet for lunch. I have to watch my shit. And then he starts talking, like, what are you watching? And I'm like, oh, it's this film critic or whatever. And he just starts This is my lunch break, by the way, which is the only part of the day where I get to just relax and not feel guilty about goofing off, which I totally did. And he's just like, blah, 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 just talking about himself, blah, 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 blah. And at some point he says, Katie Holmes is actually in Spider-Man 2. And I was actually, no, she wasn't. I didn't know. And here's what he did. Ready with the granny glasses? No, she wasn't in Spider. That's what you're thinking of Kirsten Nuts.
He's shaking his head.
I'm shaking his head.
Ever so slightly with his glasses on his nose.
And I'm like, alright! At that moment I accepted this is a bullshit job, and the only way to deal with a bullshit job is to spew bullshit back. Oh, it's actually, I do remember her in Spider-Man 2. And it's like, yeah, she was really good. And you have to remember, he's in the film industry. This is his job to know this kind of shit. Whatever.
I get it if it's like a mistake, but he was like certain and like arrogant. That's different.
Arrogant. Mm-hmm. Whatever. So, and there was another girl there for 2 days, and she left for a paying job. At first, she was like, she admitted that. She was first like, I don't know really what you're talking about. But after 2 days of Eric's bullshit, she's like, I got to get the fuck out of here.
You made friends with her?
No, she's on her Facebook. She's cool.
Okay.
But and then it just stayed like that, and you have to understand, Eric is just profound. Like he's basically me, but worse. Way worse. Frustrated constantly. He's 64. He's done with the film industry, but he can't accept it yet. Just this sad fucking creature in the middle of Soho, New York, with nothing. He has a wife and a kid that the son. So one of the rooms that I thought had people in it was another business. The other one is his son's music studio where he plays music.
Oh, that's cool.
And the son just doesn't respect the guy at all. Just totally just doesn't respect him. So I guess he looks at the interns like he gets to be their dad, and it's just the worst. And he's just frustrated. He's always cursing. He's going, fuck. What if I fuck it? Did you fuck up? Did you fuck up? And I'm like, no, I didn't. Okay, cool, okay. You worried me. And I'm like, whatever. And he just stays like, and I'm always going into the job to work going, is this the day where I just fucking snap? Because there was one time where we were putting up like lights for the film workshop, and we were just bringing it. It was like I was putting it, and I was messing. I was like, stop! And I'm like, I get up, I go to him, and I was exaggerating like, don't do that again. Like
you said that?
Yes. Like, don't yell at me again.
Oh my god!
And then there was another time
I died to see that.
And I'm like, okay, listen, you're a little sensitive. I'm like, sensitive? And I'm like, whatever. Because I know if this goes further, I'm going to lay this guy out. I know I just said that on it, whatever. And there's another time. There's another time where I'm on my computer and like they're trying to make calls, and then he gets a phone call. Because he's on the phone, and there's another. He has like 3 phones, and then he's on the phone. Because I usually didn't pick up the phone because a lot of the calls are just bullshit. Like he'd get weird calls and whatnot, and he had 2 phones, one over here and one over there. I picked up the one over here, like I was in front of me, and there was a phone on his desk, which is behind me, and I just picked up the one to the left of me.
The Solar.
So yeah, Solar Productions.
This is too good.
And then he had a specific way of doing it where I tried to do it and just kept saying, nope, you fucked up. Let's try it again. On like the second day of work, like, nope, you fucked up. And there's another job responsibility I had where if the fire, this is actually the creepiest part, if the fire inspector walked in, I was immediate to get up, run to the door and go, stop. And put my hand out and then just go, check. Chat enter. No. And no, thank you. Because he said it happens once a year. And he says, what? If you fuck up and he gets in here, I will cut your head off. And because he's like, listen, because if he comes in and he sees all this shit, I will get charged up the asshole. And I don't want that to happen. So don't fuck up. And I'm like, so there's this one time he comes in with the phone, he comes at me and he's like, and he's aggressive. He's like, gives you puts me around like that. I get up forth and just looking like that, and thankfully I fell.
So tense. I don't understand.
I seriously, you don't know how many times I fantasized about punching this fucker in the jaw. Great. I just seeing my fist enter his jaw, just BAM! Because it was that I hated this man that much. Not even just I had no respect for him. Because I talked about my family and whatnot, but I respect them, I'm never going to go, I respect them, but this fucker, disgusting man. And again, I haven't told anyone this. He's also, so, when he'd have actresses come in, he'd make these weird fucking comments. They'd walk in and go, so I saw your movie, X-rated. Just laugh like that, by the way. Like that.
You would say that?
And then he'd tell.
And what would they? How would they? Oh man.
And then there was another where he was filming something for a workshop he was doing, and she has the actress has the mic on her chest. And he goes, and she's she's filling with the mic to get it to work. And he's like, I'm about to do this. I like it when you touch your mic Ew. And he's like, like that. And I'm like,
That's cringy.
and I saw this because I had access to his email account. Because I had to work now. I had to send emails. And then I read one of his conversations, and he's just the creepiest shit. Just like, I can't remember it honestly, but it was something like that. And he was a liar too. Like he'd use all these weird tactics. Like someone would call in and he'd go, "So where are you?" Oh, at Delphi. This is direct quote, by the way. Oh, I know. So I knew a professor who worked there. Like I think 1990. I had lunch with him every day. I'm forgetting the name. No. Anyway, so I'm like, it's totally a fucking lie. This is fucking, So a lying sack of shit, a creepy sack of shit, and just this frustrated piece of shit human being.
There you go.
All right.
That's your summer.
So, this is the finale.
Oh shit.
He told me. I asked him about his job, and he's like, I quit it, and I was there for the podcast.
Oh, he quit.
Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Finale. No, that's okay. Finale. So this is the last. This is, I think, July 17th, basically. So I go in. It's another day of like, am I gonna fight with this guy? Am I gonna get physical?
Am I gonna get physical with? I can't. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I go in, and then he goes, "So do you have the Google report from last week?" I'm like, "Yeah, why?" Because he was looking to do Google ads. I pulled up. I looked it up. I pulled up. I had to do Google ads, and I showed like, here you go. Here's how to do them. So read it to me. Wait, what? You looked it up, or you researched it? But here it is. So read it. Like, what is it? But it's right here. So what is it? And I'm like, it's right on the screen. But you're not getting it. You read it. I'm like, okay, look, it's right here. I can't. No, you're supposed to explain it to me. You're supposed to go like, what is this going to do for my business? What is it? How do I do this? What is this thing? Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, but it's all right here. No, I don't hire you just to do Facebook postings. Read it. And I'm like, listen, you fucking, I start cursing. I'm trying to, but no, I said, look, Eric, if you don't fucking listen to me like that, something like that. Because no, you're right. It wasn't like listen. It was like, if you don't fucking listen, I show this to you. What the fuck are you doing, Eric? And he's like, look, and as you know, he's cursed the whole time, right? For this whole, you don't curse in this office. Listen, this is a respectable business. You don't curse, okay? I'm like, and he takes the other intern who's working and he goes, come in the back with me. And he stays there for like an hour. I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck to do. I feel like quitting right now. I don't know what to do. And then he comes back out and it just kind of fizzles out and it's like, whatever. I'm like, thank God, because honestly, we're fired up. The more I stayed at that internship, the more likely I would end up in jail for assault. It's that level of just fucking that it inspired in me. So then it's that, and I think the next day, another day passes, and then there's another intern that she started, I think, the week before, and she already knows that this is all fucking bullshit. And then she sends me a message on Facebook saying, I'm quitting today. And I'm like, oh, why? Because I told her, listen, you stay for a month, and then that's it, just put in your resume and go. Because she already graduated, which means she's wasting her time here. But again, experience, can look put in your resume. Mm-hmm. And then I told her, like, stay here for a month, and I said, wait a second. I started June 19th. Tomorrow will be July 19th. I stayed for a month. I'm fucking quitting. I'm so quitting. And that was that. And I was like, I have to do something about this. So I go on the computer and I write a letter to Eric, and I'll pull it up right now because I still have it. And here we go. I wrote this. Where is it? Sent. I hope this fucking thing. Do you think it's picking it up?
Yeah.
Even when I talk like this.
Yeah. I can turn it up.
Where is it? Sent mail. Sent mail. Too sore. Won't be able. Subject is won't be able to work for you anymore. Hey Eric, I regret to inform you that I won't be able to work for you anymore. My stepmother has just been promoted to full-time with the bread and breakfast she works at, and she needs me home to manage the house and babysit my little sister during the day. Monday to Friday, starting next week, and continuing after we get back from vacation. My apologies for my leaving being so sudden. It's been an occasionally tough, but ultimately rewarding month working for you. Best regards, Paul Hoti. I typed that up.
He didn't respond?
He did not respond. I know because I had access to his email, and then I checked the following days, and he read it, and he never responded. So I'm like, I write that in, I stay another day, and then it's 5:20, I'm packing my shit up for the last time in this office. Packing everything up, I look around, and go, I'm never going to see this again. I'm going to see that intern who works in that business again. I'm going to see Eric again. All this is I'm never going to see again. And I just start walking out, and I go, all right, see you next week, Eric. And I walk out, and I never return. And that's my internship story. So
that was a story, all right.
The
ending was not as hyped up as I thought it would be, but everything else.
You know why?
Everything else was great. I really thought you were gonna. I thought, yeah. So I met with my probation officer.
If it got to that climactic point, I would be in jail right now.
Yeah.
So it's a victory for me.
Look at that.
Well, holy shit, we went through.
That's how you close it.
That's
I guess so. Wow.
Should we sign off?
I think we should.
Yeah. Wow. This is actually our longest episode now. Yeah. I wanted to start this at 140.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
Well, we're at 221.
220 so now.
Longest episode.
Whatever.
History being made. We want to thank you for listening to the A-Side Podcast.
Thank you for coming
week.
back. If you have, and if you're new, cool.
Keep an eye out for what we're going to be doing.
New shows and everything.
Shows and whatnot. Thank you again.
Yeah.
The listener.
So signing off.
I'm Jared.
Paul.
And I'm Reddmond.
We are the 8. No.
All right.